All right, first and foremost, we're going to give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Again, we're going to give all praises, all honor, all glory to the Most High God in heaven, whose name is Yahweh. We're going to give that praise, that honor, that glory in the name of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Christ Jesus. All right, so brother Rab Yawasap, we live on Clubhouse, we live on YouTube. Oh, let me make sure my mic is from the, nope, see, it's not from the place, and then the camera, bam. All right, bam. All right. All praise, honor, glory to the Most High. This has got to be one of the most interactive conversations ever, Lord willing. That is what I'm looking to have, is interactive conversations with people, especially because there was so many opinions when I made the post on Facebook. That's really where this is stemming from, is a post that I made on Facebook, and folks that had opinions, brothers mostly, I would say, that had opinions. And I found it very interesting, some of the takes that brothers were taking. They were like, because women are wicked, da 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 da. But niggas is wicked too. And if we're basing wickedness off of, if we're solely basing the ability of decision making off of someone's holiness or righteousness or gender history from a biblical perspective, then we're going to run into a lot more problems, right? But all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Make sure we're pinging people to the room. Y'all watching on YouTube, make sure y'all hit the like button, share the video, hit the like button. What? There we go. I got to log in on this other channel, on this other profile right quick. All right, well, I pinged a few folks. Lord willing, more people get in here. But we're going to review some of these comments in the meantime. All praise, honor, and glory to you. How about Shem Yahushai? And Shapacha and Chief Sister Princess Allah Shah, feel free to, chime in. Chime in, of course. Chief Sister Princess Allah Shah, did you see my post on Facebook, the one I'm talking about?
I don't think so.
All right, cool. So this is gonna be the oh damn. Why won't it let me? Oh, you know what? I know why. I'm doing it the wrong way. This is gonna be the first time then you're hearing this, I guess. I'm gonna have to zoom in for real, Lord Jesus. All right, guys. So this is the Facebook post, right? I basically shared someone else's post, right? Someone else posted a question: can a husband marry a second wife when the first wife doesn't allow it? Right? So I see that y'all both voted yes on Clubhouse, right? So you both are in agreement in the sense of that if the first wife disallows, or let's say he already has multiple wives, right? Regardless of the particular instance, you're saying that everybody has to be in agreement in order to add someone else to the home. I would love to see what Sister Kyle has to say as well, Lord, when she has the opportunity to join later. Is that Amarai? Chief Sister Alasha, that's your husband, Amarai, right? With the football picture down there.
I'm trying to help him here, Ricky.
Is that him for real?
That's him.
Damn, he looked totally different with the dreads. Lord have mercy. So I'm trying to you know what I'm gonna try to do? Hold on. Cause this gotta look better on YouTube. That's a little bit better. All right. So bam. So that was the question ultimately that I shared the post of. Can a husband marry a second wife when the first wife doesn't allow? And I added my input to the post, and I posted I wouldn't use the word allow, right? Um because I think it's a little bit too, I would say, controlling, in the sense of she's not making the decision solely, right? She can't just say, "Oh no, nigga, you can't have no extra wife, whatever, etc." Right? Um, just as much as the husband must, just as much as the husband has to have direction, so should she. So if she does disagree, there has to be a viable reason, aside from emotion or jealousy, right? However, we will also get into the jealousy portion because it will play a factor in her even wanting another woman in the household, right? So my addition to the post was, I wouldn't use the word allow, but wives should definitely have a say who is being joined to the household. One flesh means operating together. There's something the elders say: bird can't fly upon one wing, right? And of course, I'm sure y'all know where I get that from. Um, so I'm gonna filter all the comments. There was one brother, he reacted. He was laughing, so I asked him what was funny. He didn't eventually he never replied, but other individuals did reply. And I want to make this clear: just because you commented and I disagreed with your comment or anything that you had to say doesn't mean I have a problem with you. I just may disagree with your perspective. And again, Shapacha, Amarai, Allah Shah, Sister Kaya, anybody in Clubhouse, feel free to jump in at any point. I'm just going to be reading these comments and also responding to them in real time now. So this first brother, Ace Griffin, said, "You ever see any women who are sister wives in the Bible get along?" So his question to me was, do I see sister wives in the Bible getting along? And my response to him was, considering not every sister wife relationship is recorded, I cannot accurately answer this question. I don't even know in the Bible, aside from Jacob, where there's a sister wife relationship even magnified or emphasized. The only time that I've ever experienced reading in the scriptures where there's a sister wife issue or a relationship really talked about is between Rachel and Leah, right? Have you guys ever seen anything aside from that? Let me see. Damn, is my keyboard not working either? Oh, this is crazy. There's no way.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom, young. Oh, that's why my stuff not working. My Bluetooth is off on my computer.
So I just
Oh,
wanted to comment real quick that y'all were saying the only sister wives, but that's not what sister wives mean. It just means two sisters, not actual sisters. So a sister wife is just another woman that is the wife to your husband.
no, I know that. No, I know that. I'm saying
Actual sisters, no. That was the only case.
no, not just actual sisters. I'm saying at all. Like, for example, any other man that had multiple wives in the Bible, I don't see anything. Huh? Lamech, what's the
He was the first man that had multiple wives.
in Genesis what?
I don't know. I just got off work. He's the first man, and then there's that guy that had the what was his name? Elishama. He had Penina and Hannah. Hannah and Penina.
Oh, in Samuel.
So that's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I mean, we know Solomon had his whole bunch of We know David had his whole bunch of.
I got the names of the wives y'all talking about. One name is Adad and Zillah. Yeah. Genesis 4:19. Yeah, I got Lamech's, and then I got the Hannah situation because I do remember that now that she brought it up. See, she said I'm tired.
I just literally told him I just got off work. I was on a 10-hour shift, and now I'm at home, and I am exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we was gonna read, and I was just gonna come listen, and now here I am into this.
The foolishness. How many sister-wife accounts are in the Bible? Are recorded in the Bible? So far, we got, in addition to Jacob's, right? Let's get Jacob's as well, right? In addition to Jacob's, we have 3 so far. So we have 3 witnesses. Let's see what ChatGPT can come up with. Oh, damn. I can't believe I didn't even think about Sarah and Hagar. Technically,
I thought you had already said that. That's why I didn't bring it up.
No, I didn't even think about Sarah and Hagar. Esau.
Yeah, the first 2 that was fighting.
I was thinking about it, but then I was like, I kind of thought that. Hey, I didn't think that Hagar would be considered as one of his wives.
Well, she was considered a wife because of, you know, the time frame, if you will. But I will say, in the comment section that I'm reading from Facebook, somebody does bring that up. And funny enough, though, my response to it
called her the lesser wife. Sorry.
Right. In my response to that, though, is technically Sarah agreed to add this woman to the household. So even in the agreement of a woman, there still was turmoil. Right, because of the fact that Sarah, the reason she was doing it was outside of the faith of the Most High. So that doesn't necessarily make polygyny evil or wicked, but it also demonstrates that even if both you and the wife agree to this, if it's outside of the direction of the Most High, then it's not going to end up the way you think it will.
She didn't have no patience.
Facts. And she didn't think she could.
And she didn't believe it.
Exactly. She didn't think she can get pregnant. So this is what ChatGPT gave me. We got Lamech, we got Abraham. They gave me Esau too. But so we're gonna look at that account with Esau and his wives.
He did. He had multiple. Yeah, he sure did. But we wouldn't count him.
I'm looking more particularly toward like examples of the relationship between the wives. I don't think that they give us that with Esau, but we'll see. And then Ashur, I think it's just giving me the examples of multiple wives. Gideon had multiple wives, but there's definitely no demonstration or expansion upon their relationships. Saul, but it doesn't talk about their relationship. You already said David. It doesn't talk about their relationships. Abijah had 14 wives, but it doesn't talk about their relationships. Belshazzar. Okay. All right, bam. So as far as the ones that the relationship between the 2 sister wives are actually talked about, we have Elkanah, which is in Samuel. We have Jacob. And we have Abraham, and then we have Lamech. So let's look at Lamech's first.
Oh, Moses had not 2 at the same time. My bad.
Yeah, but we're also looking for the sake of like the sister wife relationship to see, because the whole point what the brother said was, his question to me was, do I ever see any women who are sister wives in the Bible getting along? So he's questioning basically the relationship of a sister wife to where it would skew the wife's perspective of adding another one to the household. The fact that they would never get along. So why would you even consider asking her? Right? That's how I'm taking this question. So we're going to go through these examples. right? In Genesis 4:19, it says, "And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of the one was Adah, and the name of the other Zillah. And Adah it just talks about them bearing children. So it doesn't even talk, said unto his wives, verse 23. And Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, you wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech. For I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold." Okay, so it just talks about him murking somebody. That's not really their relationship. I want to say that Hannah and Peninnah, they did have issues, though. Let me move this water.
They did, because one had kids and the other couldn't bear, and she went to God and spoke with him and begged him for a child, and he heard her, and then she got pregnant. She said if she got pregnant, she would give the child back, and she did. That was Samuel.
Con. So this is y'all just finished reading First Samuel.
Yeah, she badgered her and she worried her like, I got kids and you don't. I wonder why.
All right, we're gonna read this in the NLT for a little bit more colorful language, Lord willing. First Samuel chapter 1, starting at verse 1, it says, "There was a man named Elkanah who lived in Ramah in the region of Zuph, in the hill country of Ephraim. He was the son of Jeroham, son of Elihu, son of Tohu, son of Zuph of Ephraim. Elkanah had 2 wives, Hannah and Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah did not. Each year, Elkanah would travel to Shiloh to worship and sacrifice to the Lord of Heaven's armies at the tabernacle. The priests of the Lord at that time were the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas. On the days Elkanah presented his sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to Peninnah and each of her children. And though he loved Hannah, he would give her only one choice portion, because the Lord had given her no children. So Peninnah would taunt Hannah, oh wow, and make fun of her because the Lord had kept her from having children. Year after year, it was the same. Peninnah would taunt Hannah as they went to the tabernacle. Each time, Hannah would be reduced to tears and would not even eat. So, in this particular sister-wife situation, clearly they didn't have the best relationship. One was, what kind of person would you say Elkanah was then? Because she's obviously not. It's not that she's jealous of Hannah. She's attempting to make Hannah jealous of her.
She still felt some kind of way because she knew he loved Hannah more than he loved her. Even though she was popping the babies, he loved him some Hannah, and she knew that. But that's how she held it over her head, was saying, well, I got kids and you don't.
So basically another Rachel and Leah situation, because Leah was having kids, but we know Jacob preferred Rachel.
Yep.
So it still stems from being loved less than the other woman. In that situation, right, with the 2 ladies that we have on the stage and potentially maybe get more later, right? do y'all 2 feel that would be something that would deter you, if the decision was to be made, deter you from adding another wife to your household, if it was ever presented to you? Would it be due to the fact that you would be concerned the other woman might be loved more than you?
I can only speak for myself. I definitely would feel that way. I would definitely have a jealous going like, well, okay, he's sleeping with her more, he's cuddling with her more, he's doing this with her more. What the heck? What happened to me? Like, am I just like old news? Like, he got a new toy? Like, what? Like, yeah, it would kind of get to me. Yeah.
And do you think that would be a reason as to why you might tell your husband, no, I don't want another wife at this time? Or, excuse me, I don't think we should add another woman to the house at this time?
It would be a very selfish act, but yes, that would be one of my options to use.
Okay. Chief says, I'll show you want to Answer the question or no?
I got two different views though. You got
Fair enough.
sister wives in captivity, and you got sister wives in our kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
That's two different things. So in our kingdom, I feel like I'm gonna be okay. You know, I feel like, Lord willing, you know, I'm making in that number. I feel like I'll be okay because it's not like we're gonna be struggling for anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm gonna be unhappy in any way. I don't feel like that.
Great answer, sis. I'm tired, so my brain didn't go there first. But great answer. In the kingdom, most definitely I can share because I don't care. Then the most I go take these feelings of jealousy away from us.
Come, it's gonna be so lit. So that's different in the kingdom. But like in captivity, I don't think it's wise, and I do think I would feel like Sister Kayal, because it's like a jealousy spirit will be stimulated.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're in the land where we're drawing water, we're barely making it. You're gonna have to find time, literally, to juggle between two women and two households, because we ain't gonna stay up under the same roof. So yeah, that's what it'll take.
Why is this? Salakia. I'm trying to not have sound on my YouTube, and some reason my phone is still playing the sound. Anyways, okay, I have a scripture to read real quick regarding that whole captivity thing. Right? Now the direct context of what I'm reading is dealing with the first Babylonian captivity. Right? I'm applying it as a similitude to Mystery Babylon. Does everybody understand what I just said? Okay. So this is Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 4. I'm going to read it in the ESV for the sake of easier reading for myself. Jeremiah chapter 29, starting in verse 4, says, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, God of Israel, to all the exiles whom I have sent into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon." So he's talking to the people who are in captivity. Verse 5, "Build houses and live in them, plant gardens and eat their produce. Take wives and have sons and daughters. Take wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage, that they may bear sons and daughters. Multiply there and do not decrease, but seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare." So we see that the Most High tells us to still live our life even in captivity, take wives, make sure our sons are getting married, make sure our daughters are getting married. How do we think? What do we think about this concerning the response you just gave? Like, how do we take this, what the Lord tells us to do in ancient Babylon while in captivity, and then use it in the sense of today's captivity as to, oh, we can't do it because of the hardship? Are we then making the decision strictly financial? Because if that's the case, if life wasn't so difficult, would you still be against it? What about that?
If it wasn't so difficult, maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't be so hesitant. But it is difficult.
Mm.
And then, even though he did tell your men to take wives, he didn't say like to take multiple wives. I didn't get that from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you men are married. You're not married. And then the brothers that are single, they're looking for a wife to take. So don't really see that as a multiple wife type of thing. I didn't feel that. Sorry.
No, I mean, I think it could go either way, being told to take wives, whether it's one or multiple. I'm I'm gearing it toward the financial aspect, because a lot of times people make the topic financial But then even if the man is successful and has, financial stability, does that mean now that you have no say so in him taking on extra wives, if not only that he's able to distribute his time properly, right, but he's also able to take care of everybody financially? Or let's say, because I've also seen this, there's households that there's multiple wives married to one man, and they all have made an agreement where all the women will work and he stays at home, he takes care of the kids, he cleans the house, etc. And that was their agreement. So if that is the case and we're making it strictly financial, with making sure he has the time, he has the money, does that now diminish your ability to make, or excuse me, have a say so in adding more women to the household, since now there's the money and there's the time?
I guess it's whatever floats their boat. If that works for them, then I don't see anything wrong with it, as long as they got an agreement to it and they understand that's how it's going to go. But I don't know.
I'm even again, Sister Kyle or the brothers, y'all can jump in as well. What I'm saying is, I'll rephrase, like, for you, right? If the man is financially stable and he clearly has the ability to distribute his time, does that now mean that you should not have a say so in him adding as many women as he wants, due to the fact that he's able to do it that way?
No.
So you should still have a say so.
We should still have a say so.
Okay.
For me, remember, it was not so much the money. I need that time and attention, and if I'm seeing it distributed everywhere else but to me, and I give myself away as much as I can, I'm gonna run out empty at some point.
Okay. I'm gonna continue here in the comment section, since we kind of went over the Samuel thing. We already knew about Abraham's wives, Sarah and Hagar, and then we know about Leah and Rachel. So I'm gonna go back to this comment section real quick. Again, the first brother, he said, "Do we ever see sister wives really getting along?" And like, my initial response was, considering not every sister wife relationship is recorded, I don't think I'd be able to accurately answer that. We do have a few examples, but I don't think it's enough to really make a generalization across the board for all relationships biblically. Another thing that Ace Griffin said, he said, "Let's just be real. No woman should make any final decisions on that part. And there's many accounts in the Bible." Maybe the many accounts he's talking about are the few that we just went over. And in my response to him when he said that was, I said verbatim, wives should definitely have a say-so who is being joined to the household, meaning have the right to share their thoughts about the decision being made prior to it being complete. This helps promote healthy marriages and households ran by leadership that is considerate of those they are leading. So, in the brother Ace Griffin's perspective, he said no woman should make any final decisions on that part when it comes to adding women to the household. I guess this is going to go over now to the brothers. Should the woman have the final say so? So, like, if she disagrees in adding to the household, should that be the end all be all? What do y'all think?
You want to go first, Amarai?
No, I just got shout with it.
I say yes, because pretty much you don't want to have that strife in your household, or the have her feel like you diminishing her love or whatever, you know what I'm saying, to giving it to the other woman, giving all the attention, making it seem like you giving her attention away, pretty much. or making her feel like she don't have a say so in anything, pretty much. If that makes sense.
Con, I understand. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me go check on my children. 1 second. If y'all want to have a conversation amongst yourselves, that's cool. The live, the whatchamacallit on YouTube is still going, so they'll still be able to hear you.
Yeah. That would be my on that.
Hey, it's Rob, radio, he said give him a second.
He said give him a second, but we can still talk.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm back.
So my perspective would be, I would say they have a say so, and you would want to hear they say so, and go off of their say so. I just don't think they have the final say so. At the end of the day, I feel like it's still on their husband. But at the same time, me personally, I'm gonna make sure Shapachi was saying, I'm gonna make sure my wife is cool with her, because at the end of the day, my woman knows a woman. So if she sees certain traits that I don't see, I'm gonna have to look into that before I ultimately make a decision. So that's just my perspective. But I would still get counsel, talk to my wife, and ultimately I'm still gonna make the final decision. So that's what I have to say on that.
Okay, so now, because I think it does eventually come up in the comments, but you just mentioned it now about the woman seeing. Oh, before we get to that, matter of fact, what about y'all sisters, Chief Sister Alasha and Sister Kayal? Do y'all believe that the woman should have the final say so, or would that strictly lie upon the man? Like, he gives y'all the opportunity to share your thoughts, perspective, etc. in a healthy way. Y'all do that. You're still against it. What ultimately should be the final say so?
Definitely his. I would leave that all up to him after I expound on how I feel and what are my thoughts and how this could possibly work or not work. And it would be up to him to make the final decision. I totally agree.
Same. Ultimately, the decision will be up to him, whether it's a good or bad decision. That's, I guess, to be continued.
Okay, fair enough. I definitely I look forward to seeing what else anybody else say on YouTube. If y'all want to join the conversation, matter of fact, let me do this right quick. If y'all would like to join the conversation on YouTube, you can either tap in on Clubhouse or copy the link. Let me see. Y'all can either tap in on Clubhouse, or y'all can join the live on YouTube itself if you would like. That's up to y'all. Make sure y'all liking the video, sharing the video, hitting the like button. All right, all praise, honor, glory to the Most High. So now, and I definitely want to say shout out to the sisters who would still be willing to submit to their husband, even in a disagreeing moment, right? In the sense of, because he gave you the opportunity to share your thoughts. You shared your thoughts. If he disagrees, and whether it's the right or wrong decision, you're giving him that ability to still make that decision, and almost still trusting him really to make that, to be the leader of the household. So now, again, going back to what Amarai said about her seeing the current wife, seeing traits in the new wife or the potential wife, right, that you may not have seen. Does that mean that you guys are all going to be getting to know each other simultaneously? Like, they're going to be going out together alone, you and the new girl gonna be going out together alone. Then all three of y'all gonna be going out together alone. Is that what you're saying? Mariah?
Repeat again. I didn't hear.
Basically, I'm asking is if you have this potential wife, would all three of y'all be going out together and getting to know each other, and then the two women, they would be going out to go to get to know each other, etc. Is that the process that you're talking about taking in order to give your current wife the ability to recognize traits in the new potential one?
That's definitely everything you said would be the steps I take. Also, I would actually want my wife, but I also would want just to be real among the board to actually talk to as well, because she's been on this earth a long time, so that would bring her perspective as well, just to be honest.
So basically, mom is very old. Got it.
Time. I didn't say she was old, and I tell mommy she's not old.
Shoot, I tell mommy she old. She old as hell. When she was in school, dinosaurs are still roaming the earth. God leave.
That just means she know a lot.
Cause listen, she was around the time, nigga, they didn't even have TVs in the house. They was listening to the radio, calling the TV shit. But so okay, now going back to the sisters, I see that Chief Sister Allah Shah is on the phone, right?
She still hear you though. She right here.
Okay, Khan. Going back to y'all with the sisters, do y'all think that could help eliminate the jealousy factor if you guys got to meet her, this new potential woman, if it was less of a secret? Because I will say a lot of Israelite men, when dealing or making an attempt to bring another woman in the household, which we probably should touch on after we make this point. A lot of times it happens in secret. A lot of times there's this thing that happens in the Israelite community. Oh, you don't have to tell her if you're going to get another wife, etc. It's not her business or what have you. If the man was to make it less secretive and then also make you a part of the courting process of getting to know this woman, etc., could that eliminate the jealousy factor?
If you ask the question, Rob, can you answer again about the concern?
Yes, ma'am. If the husband, right, who is making an attempt to add another woman to the household, and he makes you a part of that courting process in the sense of you're getting to know this woman, etc. You two ladies are going out, attempting to create a relationship with y'all first. Could that help eliminate the jealousy factor?
Kind.
Okay.
But yeah.
What you was about to say?
It's still gonna be a little rocky, because what am I say? Eve is a bitch on her good day, so it's like
No cap.
Yeah, it just depends, on how the spirit moves.
Okay. Sister Kaya, I know you just coming from work, so do you have something to say on this particular portion of the topic?
I wanted to see where sister's mind was. And I think we have a lot in common, sis, because you had everything. I said, let me see if she gonna bring out my toy. Because but I'm just weird. And I don't think no woman would get along with me because I'm very particular. So I don't know. I'm gonna say maybe.
Okay, fair enough. Now there's this particular Bible verse, and I will say I was one of the brothers that used it, especially coming into the truth. Not that I think I'm some Mr. Know-it-all now, but I would like to think I have a lot more experience now, dealing with particular instances, etc. But there's this particular Bible verse in the book of Micah, chapter 7 and verse 5. Brothers, including myself at one point in time, I no longer do this, just to make that clear. But brothers would use this to say, you don't have to tell your wife everything, right? I'm going to read the book of Micah, chapter 7, verse 5 in different translations first, and then I'm going to go back to verse 1. And tell me, guys, if you guys have ever heard this Bible verse used in this manner. This is the KJV. Trust ye not in a friend, put ye not confidence in a guide. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. This is the New Living Translation. Don't trust anyone, not your best friend or even your wife. This is the New King James Version. Do not trust in a friend. Do not put your confidence in a companion. Guard the doors of your mouth. Salaki, guard the doors of your mouth from her who lies in your bosom. Do not trust a neighbor. Put no confidence in a friend. Even with, this is the New International Version. Do not trust a neighbor. Put no confidence in a friend. Even with the woman who lies in your embrace, guard the words of your lips. The last one I'll read here is the ESV. Put no trust in a neighbor. Have no confidence in a friend. Guard the doors of your mouth from her who lies in your arms. Have you guys ever heard this Bible verse in the sense of not having to tell your wife everything?
I thought you was gonna read the one about not letting your left hand know what you're right.
I ain't heard that one though. That's tricky. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I've heard it before.
What about the rest of y'all? Oh,
No, I haven't heard that one. But the one that Sister Kayal had just brought out, that's the one I heard.
you're telling me they use the words of Christ to say that you don't have to tell your wife everything? Oh, that's so diabolical. That's in Matthew 5, right? When you give alms, no, I think Matthew 6. Matthew, dang, where is it at? When you pray, what the heck? Oh, Matthew 6:3. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. That's what y'all talking about?
Nah, I'm about to try to pop real quick.
Okay. Can y'all hear my daughter crying? Andrea Graham said no. Okay, so she's never heard that used in that manner either. While y'all find that scripture real quick, I'm gonna go back to Micah chapter 7. And shout out to everybody joining us on YouTube, man. Hit that like button when you get in here, share the video, etc. Right? And again, join the conversation, whether you want to join the clubhouse or engage here on YouTube. Right? In the book of Micah chapter 7, I'll be reading in the New Living Translation, starting from verse 1. It says, "How miserable I am. I feel like the fruit picker after the harvest, who can find nothing to eat. Not a cluster of grapes or a single early fig can be found to satisfy my hunger." So right now we understand it's miserable, right? It's a miserable time in Israel. Verse 2. "The godly people have all disappeared. Not one honest person is left on the earth. They are all murderers, setting traps even for their own brothers." So this is the state of Israel at this time. Verse 3. "Both their hands are equally skilled at doing evil. Officials and judges alike demand bribes. The people with influence get what they want, and together they scheme to twist justice." Verse 4. "Even the best of them is like a briar. The most honest is as dangerous as a hedge of thorns. But your judgment day is coming swiftly now. Your time of punishment is here, a time of confusion." Verse 5. "Don't trust anyone, not your best friend or even your wife. For the son despises his father, the daughter defies her mother, The daughter-in-law defies her mother-in-law. Your enemies are right in your own household. As for me, I look to the Lord for help. I wait confidently for God to save me, and my God will certainly hear me. So, for those brothers that do use this particular Bible verse, saying that you don't have to tell your wife everything, that would mean that you can't tell anyone anything because of the lack of godliness in the entire earth, right? This is talking about a time of misery for Israel, right? Where everybody is just doing absolutely godless behavior, right? Acting without the Most High, incompletion, right? Um, so over time, I've learned the fact that this is out of context. Even the one I read the one in Matthew 6, but if there's another one, you found it, Yeshabaja? Con. Um, but see, we'll use these things, and I can't wait to continue in the comments because, of course, Sirach was eventually quoted. But if we're going to use these things against women, it would stand. That means that now she shouldn't be telling you everything because it would what goes. Another thing that the elders say is what goes for the goose goes for the gander. If you're going to say that you can't trust her to tell her everything, well, then she can't trust you to tell you everything, and now we have a broken household, right? Um, so unless anybody has something to add, I'm gonna go back to the comments. Does anybody have anything to add yet?
No, I think it was that Matthew
6 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that'd be crazy.
But just for the record, though, I have not used that in a while.
All right, so like you. So we're gonna go back to the comments right quick. Ace Griffin says again, ideally that would be nice, but throughout history, once they feel any form of competition, women change like the wind, and the love tends to be conditional. So there's never peace, not even in scriptures. That's my point. So now, because I think it does come up later between me and someone else talking, right? But my response to him saying that was this: in order for you to use the scriptures, you must have a sizable comparison, and realistically, you don't. Not enough evidence is in the Bible to say sister wives never got along. Which, again, that's me speaking from my perspective. We technically had 3 witnesses between Hannah. What else? With Elkanah's wives, Abram's wives, and Jacob's wives. That's 3 witnesses. However, if we're talking about the ability of putting it across the board, I don't think that's enough, right? In the sense of generalizing every single relationship and saying that sister wives just will never ever get along. Shout out to Altaf in the building. This guy, no scams, man. All right. So now, Dan, what was the other thing that I was about to say? Sister Andre Graham says a Sirach 26 and 6, but a grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman and is and scourges of the tongue which communicates with all. So now going back to what Ace said, though, in the sense of there never being any peace and women being able to change like the wind, I don't understand why brothers would take this type of argument and say, well, because this would happen or could happen, I just won't consult her at all, right? if we're going to be looking toward the kingdom, we have to be making kingdom minded decisions, right? In the kingdom, our women are going to have the opportunity of say so, right? In the sense of the household, right? Taking care of the children. And for me, that's another thing. Um, if we're trusting this woman to take care of the children, we're entrusting this woman to cook us dinner, right? If we trust her enough to make food that we consume, why would we not consult this woman um, when it comes to making decisions for the household? I think brothers could potentially be taking the head of household thing a little bit too far sometimes, and just really trying to be overbearing and over controlling, because ultimately, um, as the saying goes, it takes two to tango, right? And if you attempt to, not degrade, but kind of disregard your partner, you're eventually going to be dancing by yourself. Um, and then with what Andrea Graham posted in the chat on YouTube, Sirac 26 and 6 about the jealousy thing, I don't know. I think that if a man was to create security in a woman, that it would diffuse the jealousy thing. From the women's perspective, that's gonna be really from y'all. Do y'all think that a man could create enough security in a woman that she would know, even if he spends an extra day or so with the other woman, that he still loves you also? Like, how could that be dealt with prior to even considering adding another woman to the house?
I think it's possible, but that would depend on how well a man is able to lead his home. Like if he's able to communicate with her and let her know what's going on. Not that he's obligated to, but because he's such a good head, he communicates with his wife to let her know what's going on. That's how you make her secure.
When you say he's not obligated to, what do you mean by that? Why would a man not be obligated to update his wife about the household or decisions about the household?
I said the word obligated like real lightly,
Mm-hmm.
because although he should, although he should, he might not feel like it's his. He has to.
Okay.
You know, just being wise is what I mean.
Okay. Um. What about okay? So, brothers, are we obligated to tell our women, or update our women about anything dealing with the household?
Yeah, I did. I did. Yeah, I think so. Because when you don't, and I've experienced it, when you don't, that's when the conflict or the confusion comes into play.
I think we can boil this down even to because I know Chief Sister Alasha, she said she used the word obligated a little lightly. How about you rephrasing to the sense of having open communication, right? I believe that if there's open communication, that creates the security for the woman, and for the man, right? Because now we're both able to tell each other things. Um, I know that y'all know Amarai and Alasha Shapacha. I want to say you do too. Y'all know the K-pop thing, right? The Demon Hunters. What about you, Sister Kaya? Y'all know the K-pop Demon Hunters thing? Really? What it sounds like.
So shocked.
I'm so shocked. I ain't gonna lie to you. Whoa, 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 whoa! You can't sing. Not that I can sing either, but.
I was about to say, but like,
So the reason I brought this up was because of this, right? In the song at the end of the movie, it's called "What It Sounds Like," right? Um, and one of the lyrics is the worst of what I came from, patterns I'm ashamed of, things that I don't even understand. I tried to fix it. I tried to fight it. My head was twisted. My heart was divided. My lies, they all collided. I don't know why I didn't trust you to be on my side. I love this song so much because it really makes me think about myself of how much I've buried inside of me when I was a child, etc., even growing into an adult, because I was afraid to tell people what I was dealing with. I didn't want them to judge me. I didn't want them to be so because you'll tell somebody something and then they'll use it against you, right? They'll bring it up in a damn argument, or they'll attempt to um what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to use the word blackmail because I've never had that happen before. But basically they'll take you trusting them and confiding in them as an opportunity to get one over on you, right? So when I heard this song, you know, not just thinking about my wife, but even thinking about brothers and, of course, the elders, people that I can truly go to and tell them, hey, this is what I'm dealing with and I need help, or this is how I'm feeling about this. And, sometimes you just need somebody to talk to. And when I heard her say that, I don't know why I didn't trust you to be on my side. She's, of course, talking to the two other women that's in the movie, Mira and Zoe. They're supposed to be best friends, and she couldn't even tell them about the deepest, darkest secret that she had. However, she felt comfortable enough telling the demon nigga all her secrets. And then what did he end up doing? Because Gima had obviously, tethers to his brain, they used it against her. So I think that if we had the open communication in relationships, it would create the security on both sides with the male and the female. Because we see, even with the comments that we're reading here on Facebook, brothers clearly have an insecurity of trusting women. Is it misplaced? Maybe not so. But women also, I mean, we hear about it all the time, right? The black woman this, the black man this. It- there's been such a distrust created among us, right? And the only way to get rid of it is to have that open communication and that trustworthy communication, right? Do y'all have anything to add about that? Some brothers say yes, some brothers say no.
I would say, I would say, having that open communication in the relationship would help, and it also keep the tension down from things being confusion. Well, it'll keep a lot of confusion from being inside of the household.
All right. I'm a what are some ways that we've all experienced, whether in a current relationship or a past relationship, that maybe we could have communicated better to avoid a problem, right? And maybe I'll go first in the sense of um matter of fact, I'll use this instance that happened at camp one time when I was still in Sakari. I don't know if I've ever told the story publicly, but I know I've told brothers and sisters about it on Discord. I told that the elders definitely knew about it. Amadaza, you know what I'm saying? But we was at camp one time on the Sabbath. It was a major event that we was doing. I don't remember what event it was, but we was at camp. It was on the Sabbath, and I was thirsty. Stupid as hell, by the way, y'all. So just be ready to laugh. Stupid as hell. Nigga, I walked off the line, went inside the store, and attempted to steal a drink. There was 4 cops in this store. It was Walgreens, I think. Right? or CVS, one of the two. And they saw me attempt to steal a drink. They made me buy the drink. So now I broke the Sabbath, right? And furthermore, when I walked out, half the line saw me do this, right? And then and this is where the Atlanta camp was holding camp for years at this time. This was their place. And after everything that occurred, etc., the leaders, they all talked to me, and amongst other counsel and judgment that had to go on. Of course, I had to apologize directly to the brothers that saw it, because it was misleading for someone of, I guess you can say, higher rank to do something that we know is wrong. And the level of shame that I felt, I started to cry or tear up in front of the brothers, because I saw all the brothers that they looked up to me in some type of manner, and I didn't do what was expected of me. You know what I mean? And one of the brothers, God rest his soul, he's not here with us anymore, the brother Danya Allah, he was like, bro, why didn't you just say something to somebody? Why didn't you just ask for water or whatever? He said, bro, I have 3 bottles of water untouched right now, you know? And if I would have just said something, right, it would have avoided all the extra stuff, right? So has something like that ever occurred, or been a time where maybe we could have communicated better to avoid other commotion?
I can't think of any situations right now, but I'm pretty sure it most definitely might come up with some in a second.
Sister Andrea Graham on the YouTube says, I think if the woman is super jealous, whether if you tell her or not is going to always be a problem. It just depends on the woman and how deep her jealousy runs, right? There was a time that I read over Proverbs 31, and I was going through it on a class or something like that, and I was really hoping to get through to brothers, like, in the sense of the rate in which a woman has the opportunity to fully be Proverbs 31 expectation is based upon arguably the leadership that she's being provided, right? Because we see, what's her name, Abigail, right? um Her husband was wicked, right? And she still maintained her humility, etc., even with um the head of the household not being where he was supposed to be, right? So we can help cultivate that Proverbs 31 in the woman, right? Whatever she's lacking or not lacking, right? There's also some women that kind of already naturally have it, if you will, based upon their faith in the Most High, right? But nonetheless, I'm gonna continue here with these comments in on the Facebook post. Beloved brother Shaquad over there from Riverside, he says that allow word is strong, but I do believe brothers got to be better in choosing their ribs if they're not considering the opinion of their rib when it comes to adding another. Don't just be after no simple-minded bird as a first rib, but pursue a woman that has strong cognitive capacities in contributing rational decisions, someone who understands the concept of building, in my opinion. um I responded and said, exactly, what's that say about me and my choices if I can't trust my wife enough to help me make such important decisions concerning the household we both have? I'm really trying to get some of these brothers that was just so against talking to their women. You know what I'm saying? If you're out there and you're watching, you're listening, I need you to come talk to me. All right? um
So like your Rob,
Go
can I say
ahead.
something?
Of course.
Can you hear the TV in the background, or are we good?
No, I can't. Even if I could, it wouldn't bother me. Your TV ain't nothing like mommy TV. You ever call mommy TV? I mean, not call her TV. You call mommy and you hear her TV as if it's on the phone with you.
But it's good that you brought her up, because I was about to say something that she says a lot. It's that Eve, she was made after Adam, so she already has all of the things that Adam has plus some. So if brothers really knew that and looked at that as a good thing instead of competition, then we would be so far ahead of the game as a whole. You know, because if Adam was made first and Eve was made from Adam, she has everything that Adam has, and then she also has everything that she needs to help Adam. It's obviously a win-win, but men look at confident and strong-headed women as competition versus your partner, your helpmate.
Now imagine, even that the brothers that see women as competition, what does that really say about the brother to have a woman as your competitor, whether you're in a relationship with her or not, right? And I say that not to diminish women, but if brothers really see themselves as the head of the household, oh, I'm number one, I'm the boss, I'm in charge, why are we then attempting to compete with someone that we're in charge of? You see how that creates such a problem? You said what, brother?
Weak-minded.
Exactly. So now, how much does that speak to your inability to even lead, especially when it comes to making decisions like this, right? I want to add upon what Chief Sister Allah Shah just shared from the elders, right? You know, this is another thing that I wanted to potentially bring to the forefront of someone's mind. If I got someone in here that was a little bit more I don't want to say contentious, but didn't necessarily agree with my perspective. In Genesis 3, right? When God is cursing Adam and Eve, right? Right here. Right? Genesis chapter 3, I'm gonna start at verse 12. No. Yeah, I'm gonna start at verse 12. The man replied, "It was the woman you gave me who gave me the fruit, and I ate it." Verse 13. Then the Lord God asked the woman, "What have you done?" "The serpent deceived me," she replied. "That's why I ate it." Verse 14. Then the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all animals, domestic and wild. You will crawl on your belly, groveling in the dust as long as you live." Don't know how you guys take that, but I perceive this to be symbolic and metaphorical to a futuristic people. Right? Verse 15. And I will cause hostility between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. And he will strike her head, and you will strike his heel. Verse 16. Then he said to the woman, so now God is talking to Eve, "I will sharpen the pain of your pregnancy, and in pain you will give birth, and you will desire to control your husband, but he will rule over you." In the KJV it says, "And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee." Now, what's interesting to me is this is technically a punishment, right? Does everybody see that? This is a punishment from God to Eve. The pregnancy and the husband ruling over her. Why is everybody able to get behind that? Pause. So, therefore, that means prior to the fruit situation, what does that mean? They were working together collectively, right? And like what's the term people it was a holy matrimony. I don't even know what that term means. Let me look up the definition of holy matrimony. Matrimony. Right, holy matrimony is a sacred religious marriage. It is a lifelong commitment between a man and a woman before God and the church. So they had a level of togetherness that obviously, because of her decision, right, she now had to be controlled. So if we're looking to get back where Adam and Eve were, that means we need to be working together. So if I look to add another person to this household, let's say that we were to change the topic. Let's say it's not a wife, right, that we're looking to add. Right? Let's say we're trying to adopt a child. Right? Let's say that, God forbid, me and my wife we have the incapability to have children, but we want children. So we look to adopt. Isn't that a decision that we would make together? Right? And ultimately, because we got to take care of this person, right? Regardless of how old the child is that we look to add. You understand? It would be this something similar with a woman. If we're looking to add her to the household, well, what if she doesn't have a job? What if she can't work because she's disabled? Right? But there's still an affection between me and this woman. That means now we have to take care of her. If she's not able to bring something else to the table, what if she doesn't know how to cook at all? That means the one wife is still cooking and cleaning. You see what I'm saying? Why would we not ask the wife that we're in a current relationship with to add another woman to the household? Brothers, if you're out there, my goodness, let me go ahead and start pinging some more people. Maybe that's what we need to do. Let's ping some more people to the clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? We got to get some brothers out there, some real, headstrong, I'm in charge ass niggas out there. We got to find them.
Hey, yeah, though, for me, like you say, I just couldn't make that decision ultimately by myself. Like you say, because women know women. That's what I'm always say. A man has to teach a man how to be a man. A woman teaches a woman how to be a woman. But you get traits from that, that help you and build.
Exactly. But there's guys out there, man. There's guys out there that they would disagree with you. They would say, "Nah, man, I'm in charge. I don't have to tell her anything." There's people that I know that they're, or excuse me, that I've heard of, not that I know personally, but that I've heard of, where their woman responds to it, not their name, but the B word as their name. Like that's her name is the B word.
That's crazy.
What's going on, Shalat?
Sound like
Yeah, you sound just like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kind of lucky. I was trying to ping some more folks in here. What's going on, brother Shalat? How you doing, man? Shalom, shalom. You know what I'm saying? Join the stage. Let us know what you think, man. Should you be running things by your wife? Right. Especially when it comes to adding another wife to the household. Talk to us, man. So I'm gonna continue here on the comment section real quick on the Facebook post. The brother Gabar, he said, "This is my world. I pick and choose who is in it." Quam, and I said, "LOL, is that right?" Gabar says, "Calm, my world is my life. You pick who you want in your life, and you can pick people who you keep out." Shalakia. Gabar says, "Calm. My world is my life. You pick who you want in your life, and you can pick people you keep out. When it comes to close family, your parents, etc., the scripts tell us how to deal with them. Scripts tell you how to deal with the wicked. Pick and choose or lose." And so I said, life or death in every situation, which is true, right? The brother God of Allah chimed in. Shamayam said on Clubhouse, servants of Yahweh, where are you all based out of? Um, our HQ is technically in North Miami Beach, Florida, South Florida. Myself and Shapacha are in Jacksonville, which is North Florida. Then we got brothers and sisters kind of scattered throughout the states. We got um, brothers and sisters in the Carolinas, in the Northeast, New York, New Jersey area. A couple brothers in Texas, and then I want to say folks in California, and then I want to say somewhere in the Midwest, but I can't remember the state. Um, as far as like a place of worship, that is solely right now only North Miami Beach, Florida, but by the grace of the Most High, will expand soon enough. Definitely join the conversation though. Cash in that pink ticket. We definitely want to hear from brothers and sisters on this topic. Can a wife stop her husband from taking a second wife? All right. Does he need permission, etc.? Shamayan Kwawal, what do you think? Since you're on the stage now.
Shalom to the room. Shalom to everyone. No, a wife can't stop her husband from taking a second wife. I think it would be moral for the husband to, at least give her like a heads up or have a conversation.
So,
Shalom, beautiful.
what about what? Okay, so you said that no, she cannot stop him, right? Um, in the sense of obviously not in a physical sense. I get that, but you're saying that she has zero final say of who he adds to the home.
I won't say that she has zero final say because that's not even the dynamic of my household. My husband will, if he decides to bring on another wife, he will have the conversation with me. And, as far as wisdom goes, I will give him my wisdom concerning all of that, just not necessarily what I feel, but that would have to be taken into consideration. But as far as, bringing on a new dynamic or anything, we would all have to be on the same page, period, point blank. And the things that he's already established in the household would have to be according to that same establishment, because it would make no sense it would make no sense for him to bring a wife on for the heck of it, if that makes sense. Hopefully I made sense and I didn't sound like I was rambling.
No, absolutely. I definitely understand. Does anybody else either agree or disagree with what she's saying? Khan. So, Sister Shamayam, when you say that he doesn't, no, excuse me, she cannot stop him, is that only in the physical sense, or is that also in the sense of, like, if she says no, then he can still do whatever the hell he wants?
Honestly, I think that is something that should be established before the marriage takes place. And I think that if the wife has certain drawbacks that I feel like may be more spiritual, because at the end of the day, we both still need to know the background of this woman, right? So I think that if there are drawbacks, I think that the husband should hear what the wife is saying concerning those drawbacks, and actually give a purpose for what he needs that other person for. Because just because just because it's lawful biblically does not mean that it's expedient for that household. And every man in Israel did not have multiple wives, so it's kind of a thing. It's a touchy subject, so I try not to talk about this too much. But I don't necessarily believe that every man, just because he has the right, should do it. And so I think the dynamic of the relationship should already have that standard. So if that sister is not in agreement with multiple wives, then there needs to be either that complete understanding, and then he keeps his word as a man, or that sister gets the opportunity to choose whether or not that's the lifestyle that she wants to live. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes me want to ask a question now. What do we think about brothers who make that commitment to a sister? Let's say that he says, "Yes, sweetheart, I promise you'll be the only woman that I ever deal with ever again." Does he have the authority to make that promise? What do you guys think?
I think he runs his household, if that's what he decides to do. And I'll go out for my pink ticket in a second. I think that's his prerogative, because if you say that a man runs his own house, right, you can't turn around and tell him that if he decides to make that type of commitment to his wife and saying that he's choosing not to, then he would just be a man of not his word. You know what I mean? If that's going to be the case, then he just needs to say, I'm not really sure if I want to do that. I'm not really sure if somebody else is going to come along in my life, and just make it clear that he doesn't want to make that promise. So then she has the opportunity to choose whether or not she wants to live in teeter-totter. Because at this point, it would just be the man keeping his word, whether it's I'm going to go have another wife or I'm not going to have another wife. So I just believe it depends on the character of a person, and what they have the ability to do within themselves. If you're able to do this, you're able to bring a wife, and you make a promise, then I don't believe you should go back on your word. If you did not make that promise and did not have the conversation, I believe that you missed a lot of things in the beginning. And if you decide that that's what you wanted to do from the beginning, and that sister has that understanding, then that is her issue when she decides to stay with you or be with you, and then decides no, she doesn't like it because there's another sister involved. I guess because I'm my sister's keeper regardless. So for me, I would just be like, my thing is, okay, what do you bring to the table? And we ain't talking about anything physical. What do you bring to the table to build the house? What is going to make it easier for our husband and your husband to be? What is it going to benefit him? You know what I mean? If it's not going to benefit him and it's going to cause me to have to step into places that, either that woman has, said that they can do. There's just other dynamics that need to be talked about. A lot of people don't want to have the conversation. Everybody just thinks about the sex, and it's not that. It's, it's a purpose for that, but every household doesn't need that. So if you make a promise, I say, if you're a man, you make a promise, then you keep your promise. And I don't believe that you should go back on your word. I think that has to do with your morals. It has things to do with who you are as a person. Because basically you told a lie. You know what I mean? Whether you believe it or not, you told a lie. If that's not something that you wanted to commit to, then you should be upfront and be able to say that upfront. Period. Point blank.
Okay. Now the reason I asked that question was because of the sake, as the saying goes, the man is the head of the woman, and then who's the head of man? Christ, right? And then the head of Christ is God. So the reason I asked, how do we feel about men who make that promise? Before I expound, does anybody else have something to say about that? How do we feel about brothers that make those promises to women? What do y'all think? Anybody else want to add to what Sister Shamayam said?
I would say, yeah, if that man makes that promise, then that's his pride. If you choose to make that person the only one, then that's on him. He has that option to make that decision. But if you know you're not gonna, keep that promise, don't make that be, be upfront at the beginning of the relationship before you could, lay down with that woman or consider, well, to us, considering it's marrying her.
Mm. Anybody else?
I don't ever think it's a good decision to renege on something that you put your word on, period.
Say that again.
I don't think it's ever a good decision to renege on something you put your word on. If you and her discuss no otherwise, that's what it should be.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else before I expound upon the purpose of my question?
Should keep your word.
Okay. So this is why I asked that, because Romans 9:16, amongst others, right? It says, "So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runs, but of God that shows mercy." And of course, this is talking to the prerogative of the Most High and him doing whatever the hell he wants, right? At the end of the day, just as much as none of us know exactly who's going to make it in the land, prophetically speaking, um, that means that none of us know what God has in store for us. So think about Jephthah and the promise he made in the book of Judges. He attempts to promise God something, and he has no clue what is in store for him when he gets home. He thinks he's just going to, give God whatever, something random. He ends up having to give up his own daughter, right? So, how can a man make a promise when he doesn't control his own life? Is that a promise that a woman should even consider serious? Or if both are living godly lives or practicing godliness, right? Is that even a discussion that should be allowed, considering that the Most High ultimately does what He wants as well, and really we don't control anything. Now, if you are someone who subscribes to free will, then I think that's even better of a conversation. But if you do not subscribe to free will, and you believe that the Most High is in control of absolutely everything, how can we then take that promise seriously, knowing He has zero control?
To me, it's the same thing. If you feel like you have no control, that's what you believe. If you feel like you have no control, do not make that promise. It's just, it's not hard. Don't make that promise. Like I said, in the Bible, every man does not have multiple wives.
Mm-hmm.
The Most High did not see fit for that for every family. And to be totally honest, it's not even half of the men in Israel that had multiple wives. So I believe that the Most High has the ultimate say and that He will give those instructions so that those instructions will be followed, and that head of the household has to establish that from the very beginning. It's to me, it's not about free will. It's about doing what the Most High says to do. And if you're allowing the Most High to lead you as a man, then you will be following what He wants you to do, and that decision won't be made at the beginning. I mean, that decision will be made at the beginning. So one thing that I know that the Most High is not about is confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Things change, but it won't be confusion in that change, if that makes sense.
That definitely makes sense for me. Anybody else want to chime in on this?
Con. So, for me, I feel like we have a little bit of self-will to make a decision, sometimes. But at the end of the day, I think we're still guided by the Most High, because ultimately He knows the decision we're going to make. But at the end of the day, He gives us that option to follow the laws or to not follow. And, yeah, because say if you choose to make a decision to get another wife, right? And then you don't go about it the correct way, you ultimately made a decision to just get another wife and not go about it the right way, which is courting, asking your rib to court and get with you. Just in general, I feel like we all got that little self-will, but it's just like, at the end of the day, again, the Most High is supposed to guide you. The law is supposed to guide you and help you to make that decision. So if you choose not to, then you're going off and you got people around you holding you accountable,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not listening to them, then you're just going off your own understanding.
Okay. Now, Brother Azon said in the chat, you made a covenant with your wife, talking about the promise you made. And then he also says, I'm sorry, you were still going? I'm sorry. Oh, no, he wasn't talking. Okay.
It's lagging on my end.
Con. And then Azon also said she walked into that marriage with that understanding that it would just be her. Okay. Does anybody else want to talk about the brothers making a promise thing?
I do want to say, like, if a brother were to make a promise,
Mm-hmm.
then of course he would need to uphold that promise, but having in mind that being that you did make this promise,
Mm-hmm.
so much more things are going to come your way to test your strength to uphold that promise. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I would definitely agree with that, and I would say too, to add to that. So then now you go against the promise because the temptations come, and then say that it is the Most High. That is a thing in Israel. They make the promise, and they say, "Oh well, the Most High told me to do this, that, and the third." So, are they really listening to the Most High, or are they listening to the lust of their flesh?
Ooh-wee.
Diabolical.
Ultimately, I believe it comes from the Most High, because whether it's your flesh, which is a left-sided spirit taking control of your flesh, or whether it's you listening to the Lord and being obedient, which is the right side, it's still coming from the Lord, either or. It's just whether or not it's in a good way or a bad way. So, yeah.
All praise, honor, glory to the Most High. Shout out Brother Azon joining the stage. Before, because Brother Azon, I know you have something to add, and I appreciate you joining us. Before that, I want to read two things though, right? Because this is another thing that we have to consider when it comes to taking oaths, and the reason I even bring this up in the sense of, if a man makes a promise like that, can a woman even take it seriously, especially if she believes or even remotely reads the Bible? I'm going to read two things here. First, I'm going to come from the King, Yahushai, or who people call Jesus, Yeshua, whatever you may refer to him as. Matthew 5 and verse 33. I'm going to read in the ESV if that's okay with you guys. Matthew chapter 5 verse 33 in the ESV says, "Again, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform to the Lord that what you have sworn." Like you guys said, a man should have the opportunity to uphold his word. As Shamian, she said, why wouldn't she read the Bible? That's diabolical. Be totally honest. I mean, there's plenty of marriages right now that the woman was not in the truth prior. So that's kind of why I made that statement. Verse 34 in Matthew 5, it says, but I say to you, do not take an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not take an oath by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than that comes from evil. So Yahweh Shai or Jesus, Yeshua, again, whatever you want to, whatever you call them, right? He tells us to just have direct communication. There's no need to make promises if you are indeed a truthful individual. So, also Sirach 23, right? Going to what Chief Sister Allah Shah said, this is exactly what made me think about it, right? Sirach chapter 23. Let me add these scriptures to the screen on YouTube. My bad, y'all. Shalom to everybody joining us, by the way. Hit the like button, all that. Right? If y'all on Clubhouse, please ping more people to the room. We need folks. I want to hear what brothers and sisters got to say about this. All right, especially the head of household ass niggas, right? The book of Sirach, chapter 23, starting at verse 7. I am reading in the Good News translation in case anybody is wondering. My children, listen to what I have to say about proper speech. Do as I teach you, and you will never get trapped. Sinners are caught by their own arrogant, insulting words. Don't fall into the habit of taking oaths. Don't use God's holy name too freely. A slave who is constantly beaten will never be free of bruises. Someone who is always taking an oath by the holy name will never be free of sin. So, verse 11, anyone who takes oaths all the time is sinful to the core, and punishment is never far away from his household. If he fails to fulfill his oath, he is guilty, right? If he ignores his oath, he is twice as guilty. If his oath was insincere in the first place, he cannot be pardoned and will have a house full of trouble. So, like you said, Chief Sister Ali Shaw, if a brother does make that oath, it could potentially cause more harm than good, right? That's why I asked, could a sister even take it seriously? Should a brother even go out on that limb? I understand making the discussion, but if there is a promise made, I think that's going to cause more harm than it would ever do good, because of, again, the wisdom that we see in Sirach, and then also the command, I would say, given by Yahweh Shai, that tells us not even to make oaths, right? It can be extremely problematic. I should just simply let you know, hey, am I interested in another wife? Yes or no, right? And at the end of the day, the interest may not be here now, but it could arise later, right? So instead of brothers having their integrity questioned, brothers that are out there making these types of promises, I would definitely say to be careful, right? Because if you have that ability, then cool, but realistically, none of us know what the hell is going to happen, right? So I would definitely, if brothers and sisters are making these types of commitments to each other, it can definitely bring more harm than good. If anybody does want to respond to that, feel free. Azon, you are next, to go ahead and join the conversation. So all praise to the Most High. Definitely happy to see more folks in here. Praise the Lord.
So, can y'all hear me right now?
Indeed, you are a little low for me though.
Oh, what about now? How I sound? Sound good?
That's better, yes, sir.
Okay, cops. My bad. I'm at the job, but I stepped outside real quick because I definitely wanted to touch on this real quick. When it comes to the whole conversation about multiple wives and the agreements between a man and a wife, I think just like whether you in the truth or out the truth, there should always be a conversation. And I'm talking about everything. That's why you have brothers and sisters in court, right, for a little while. Before, one thing I did with my wife 25 years ago now, was I sat on the hood of her car because she wanted a serious relationship. I did it, and not because I didn't want to, but because my life was just out of control, right? And so I sat on that hood of the car and I broke down everything to her, and she agreed. So now when it comes to this whole multiple wife situation, I believe you should have a conversation. I think there should be
an understanding of what that means. Multiple wives means. Are you comfortable with that? And she should approach it that way. Now, in the case that a man makes that promise to her, like, nah, you the only one in my life. I'm never gonna get another sister to marry, nothing like that. Then I believe he should uphold to that. And the reason why is because he's making a covenant with his wife on that. Like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but in Ephesians it talks about husbands love their wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, right? So if we love our wives like Christ loved the church, and we dedicated ourselves to the commitment and or the covenant that we're making with our wives, based on the understanding that we came together before we decided to lay down with each other, I believe that's something that we should stick to. It opens up. There's a whole lot of problems that come behind changing your mind, because now you have somebody who joined the relationship under that circumstance. But now I'm stuck with you now. Now you want another wife. We agreed to this, but now you say, well, I can do this. Now I'm stuck with you. But we had an agreement and I can't even go nowhere. Now I have to worry about, you hating me and loving the other one more than me. Now I have to worry about, am I even going to get along with this girl? Now I'm going to have to worry about, are you still going to love me the same with this new love that's coming in? There's a whole lot of obstacles and factors into having multiple wives. Can you? Yes. Should most brothers? No. Not today. Now, if you can do it, do it. I believe you should be able to do that if you have an agreement with somebody that's okay. I'm with that. There's nothing in the Bible that says you can't have multiple wives. But I strongly stand on that if you make an agreement with the woman that you're about to spend the rest of your life with and have children with, you need to stick to that agreement. It's going to cause too many problems, and now you have a female who can't even take your word. You make another promise. How can I believe you now? You just said you promised me something that was very important to me, and you want me to believe you on this new promise after breaking the first promise. So if you're going to do multiple wives, if there's a certain way you're going to live your life, break it down for her first. If you come to an agreement that you're not, just don't do it. Or at least let her know, look, be honest. Like, don't just tell her things because, damn, you fine as hell. I want to be with you and I want you to have my baby. Don't make your decision based off that. Instead, just be honest and be like, you know what? I don't know. I might want more wives later on. But then you have to sit with yourself and ask yourself, well, why would I want more wives? Why would I want multiple wives in this world today? Is it going to be beneficial to me on an economic level? Is it going to be beneficial to me because I have a lot of love to give? Because I can love more than one woman, and I just love, whatever the reasons and or excuses that, brothers will come up with for it. But if you're going to make a commitment to a female, and that's a commitment that y'all both agreed on, there's no reasons to go back on that. And then if you decide to have the conversation with her that, I know I said this is what it was. I know I promised you this, but this is what I want to do. Can we sit down and at least talk about it? And yeah, sit down and talk about it. And I believe a wife should sit down and at least have the conversation, because maybe she feels different later on too. Maybe she'll feel like, you know what? Yeah, it makes sense to do this because this is the situation we're in. And you know what? This system was really cool. And I think she could add a lot to this family, instead of us always looking at it in a sexual manner, because that's really not what it should be. It should be about you being able to help each other and, just keep being fruitful and having more children and just being a family unit. But, if it comes to that, at least have the conversation with her. I think if she disagrees and you made a promise, now you're in a position where it's like, okay, well, now I got to make a decision. Do I go back on my word and do what I want to do? Or am I going to love this lady that laid down with me 25 years ago and been through hell with me and struggled with me and had 4 of my children and just finish our life that way? That's just where I'm at it on that, man, because I don't want my wife telling me something and then going back on her word on me, or going and messing around with another. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's a dangerous, slippery slope, if you understand what I'm saying. I appreciate you letting me talk. I'm at work, so I'm going to be in and out, but I definitely want to have the conversation with you, Rob. It's good to see you, brother. I haven't seen you in a minute.
All praise to the Most High. Pleasure to see you too, King. So I want to make sure the initial question is officially answered. Do you believe that a wife can stop her husband from getting another one?
No, I don't believe the wife can stop, but a wife does have the responsibility to make sure that that man is realizes and at least acknowledges that hey, you made this promise to me. Can she stop him? No. But it will cause problems. So no, to answer your question, no, she can't.
Okay, fair enough. Dylan, did anybody else want to respond to what I had said earlier when I read the two scriptures? Did anybody want to respond to that before we proceed? All right, all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. If something does pop up in your spirit, feel free to unmute. You know what I'm saying? It's an open room so far. If you got the pink ticket in, man, go ahead, join the room, cash in the pink ticket. Praise the Lord. Shout out to everybody joining us on YouTube. Hit the like button, share the video, hit the like button. I'm gonna read some of these comments here from the YouTube right quick. A little while ago, Sister Andrea Graham said, I feel it's kind of different because 9 times out of 10, a woman is not going to be jealous of a child. And of course, I would hope not. That was when I brought in the analogy of, if we plan on adopting a child, we would have to talk about it, go over the planning, etc. So why would that be any different if we're adding a woman to the household? Then a brother, Yaquam Taza Dayak, said, I never make the promise. I just state the truth. I don't feel it's for me, but I never know what the Most High has for us. That's his response in regard to like making a promise or something. Tribe of Issachar says, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 9, a man's heart devises his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Then Yaquam Tazadiak says again, the 144 and the innumerable multitude of women and children will need to repopulate the kingdom, which is true. That doesn't necessarily mean there will only be polygynous relationships, though. Let me ask that question. Do you guys think that there will only be polygynous relationships in the kingdom?
Nah, I don't think it's going to be just strictly.
Do you think that there will be single men and women in the kingdom?
No, I don't think so.
I can't answer.
I think from the beginning it might be most polygynous because it did say there would be a lot more women than men. The men would be scarce, so it would definitely be a more than one woman to a man in my belief of what I've read.
Okay. Do you guys think? Oh no, well, Azan and Amariah said they don't know, but what about the rest of y'all? Do you think that there will be single individuals in the kingdom? Excuse me. The water, sweetheart. Do you guys think that there will be men or women that are single in the kingdom?
So, like the piggyback off what the sister said, I think there will be in the beginning, but eventually, I think they're gonna, a lot of women are gonna cleave to one man too. But also, I think once it's solidified, that's when everybody's gonna be able to, meet this person, meet that person, But at the beginning, yeah. But once time moves forward, I think everybody will be together with somebody. It'll be along.
Okay, fair enough. That was just a random question that came to my mind because of what Taza Diak said. Tribe of Issachar said, what are you talking about? The decision was already made for us by the Most High God before the foundation of the world. That kind of goes back into the whole promise thing. Again, what I was asking, should a woman really take a man seriously if she's, somewhat familiar with the Bible? In him making that type of promise or type of commitment, because again, at the end of the day, nobody knows you, right? I think if we are going to communicate something like that, it should be very clear, for the sake of honesty and for the sake of expectation, right? You tell a woman, hey, I do love you very much, and if it is just going to be us, then I'm fine with that. However, if the Most High sees fit to add an addition to the home, then we should be prepared for that. But for me, I think brothers and sisters making those types of commitments to each other about the fact that, oh no, we won't ever have any other wives in the house, I think that's a little bit disingenuous considering the fact that we don't know what the Most High has in store for us. We don't even know if the Most High is going to keep us together forever. You know what I mean? So I think we should be a little bit more realistic in those conversations with each other. Tribe of Issachar also says if we Israelites make any kind of oath or promise to the Most High God, then we had better keep it, which is very true. Chief Sister Dione Israel says, my husband and I don't think a man needs 2 wives just to have many children, and one woman is good enough, and one woman is good enough. Okay. Yaquam Tazadiak says, also, if you make the promise, the Most High won't put you in a position to break it, like when Gibeonite deceived us. That's a good point too. Because what I read in Sirach says that if it was insincere in the first place, right? If we're going to be having conversations or discussions and setting commitments and expectations, sincerity is going to go a long way. Tribe of Issachar says, a wife cannot stop her husband from getting another wife. He says it twice, in fact. Says it 3 times. I believe polygamy will be the majority, not for everybody. What is a man supposed to do when a woman is on her cycle? Wait for loving for 2 weeks, or go to his other rib? That's what Andrea Graham says.
It always ends up with some kind of sexual comment. Oh, we have needs in that area.
No, this is a woman asking the question. This is a woman.
That's what I'm saying, woman or man. It always ends up with that when we've been trying to kind of avoid that.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
this is the thing. If we're gonna have the conversation, we do have to consider all factors. That, however, is not necessarily, I would say, the most important factor. Sister Andrea Graham did ask it. What is a man supposed to do? Realistically, if he only already has one wife, then he should have the opportunity of, I guess you can say, be abstinent for those 2 weeks. However, since you did ask, technically, there's other things I'm sure that they could think of between her and her husband. That's going to be the prerogative of that household, right? So now let's continue here. I got other comments on this Facebook post. Just to be clear, since everybody is just now joining, some people are just now joining, right? To be clear, as far as my particular stance goes, I wouldn't say that to use the word allow or give permission per se, but wives should definitely have a say so in who is being joined to the household, because of course one flesh means operating together, right? And I quoted the elders that I take counsel from, where they say bird cannot fly upon one wing, right? In that instance, I want to be direct and say this. I think a woman could stop a husband from getting a wife. He does have the ability to do what he wants in a physical sense. Like, she can't, tie his hands up and say, oh no, you're never leaving the house, type of stopping him. But if she says no, right, then if we're not in agreement on something, then therefore there's no blessing. If the man moves forward on his own, then that means you don't even respect her enough to consider her opinion, regardless of the reason why she says no. Because let's say she says no due to her jealousy, right? That means you have not created enough security in this woman for her to have another woman in this household. So that means you still have work to do. Let's say she says no for a financial reason. That means that there's still work to do, regardless of her reasoning, whether it's emotional, etc. There's something behind it that's causing her to be this way and feel this way. We have to validate it, right? And obviously, eventually it'd be brought to counsel, etc., for the sake of reasoning. But if there's any level of insecurity in a man's woman, that means you still have work to do with her for you two to build before you go and start trying to build another house, right? How does everybody feel about that before I move back to these comments?
That's wisdom. And earlier when I was saying that a man, like when you asked me about a man being stopped by a woman, that's exactly what I meant. Like, not that she has no say in it, but I mean, can she literally stop him? He gonna do what he gonna do if she's that way. You know what I mean? But I agree with what you said. I agree that especially since y'all are making decisions together in life, that the responsible thing to do would be my bad. Hold on. I gotta go on mute. My bad. I'm manager comment.
Yes, sir. No, you good, King. Now, brother Mavu, you know what I'm saying? If you come to the stage, you better have that jazz music, brother. You know what I'm saying? We need the jazz music, right? In the meantime, though, does anybody else have something to say before I move back to these comments on Facebook? All right, all praise to the Most High. I'm finna slide to these comments right here. God of Allah commented on the Facebook post that I made, and he said, "If it's for peace, I'll hear her out, but the final decision belongs to the one who's going to be." Oh, excuse me, guys. It's a work call. Hello.
But we just finished our chapter on Wednesday, so when we do that on Sundays, he'll have another kind of discussion.
Okay, yeah, I joined the room. I don't have social, so can't really join on my Facebook. But this definitely a topic that need to be talked about, man. Especially with the way Israel is right now. Mavu, what up, Bob?
Shalom, you know this his topic. He don't want to get up here because then he get long-winded. Ain't that right, my boo? Just fooling with him.
Shalom, my bad.
It's definitely a topic for my boo.
What's up with y'all and my boo? My boo don't like this topic is there?
Nah.
My boo is a good brother, man. He's a wise brother too. You have to have a conversation. Once you hear him speaking, you have a conversation with him, you'll understand. He's a good brother. Like, I don't know, trust me, he good.
Yeah, you gotta start getting love out a little bit.
My boo, what's your stance on this?
Come on, Bob.
Way to fit everybody.
My boo hold classes like every other day or so. He got different ones too. Brother got a book coming out. He do marriage stuff, family stuff, all types of stuff.
His photo make him look like he write a book for real.
Right. You talking about Marvel? He do got a book out.
Hey, I'm just listening to you guys throw shots. I'm just taking them right now.
Whoa,
man.
pause. Whoa.
Massive piece to everybody make, man.
The man said he's taking shots. That's crazy.
This guy. This guy. So wait a minute. What happened? What's wrong with that?
You're a man taking shots?
Watch this.
From other men?
So you said pause. Does that mean you had a homosexual thought?
Brother. We're live on YouTube. Don't use those words.
Do that. Hey, shout out to Rob, man. That's my brother, man. Love that brother, man. Shapati, I see you, man. Man, I'm over here sweating pronouncing these names.
Yeah, see that? See what happens when you speak against me like that?
Say that again, Rob.
You're struggling, brother.
I know I am struggling. I'm sweating up here. You said Elisha, that's good. Yeah, I think so. And then we got Amara. Shout out to the good sister. Right. Of course, shout out to Benji Gal up in here. Sister Shemayim, I see you. Good brother Azan. What up, y'all, man? Just join the stage, man. What's going on, you guys? I'm looking at your topic. This is an interesting topic, man. Can a wife stop her husband from taking a second wife? I got my wife actually right here next to me. Love, what do you think? Can a wife stop a husband from taking a second wife?
Of course not.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I find it, me personally, what I promote and teach is that you should master one thing first before taking on something else. And so, it's always good to take care of one. You got a Honda Civic in the driveway, take care of it. Oil change, wash it, clean it. Oftentimes what I find is, brothers, they got a Honda Civic with three tires in the driveway, and they looking at the Bugatti, and I'm just like, hey man, you might want to put a tire on that. I'm gonna shut up, but I guess you guys get it, man. Peace to all you guys, man.
Why the second car gotta be a Bugatti? Are you insinuating that the second wife would always be better than the first?
Look at that. I love that. That's an excellent question. It's actually perception. A lot of the times, in relationships, primarily in marriages, when things are going tough for a long time, what ends up happening is, I'm going to put it on the brother. Same thing happens to the sister, but the brother will perceive that thing out there is better than what I have. You know what I'm saying? Like the grass is greener over there, but it's like, no, the grass is greener when you water it. But it's perception, Rob. That's an amazing question.
Fair enough. What was your wife's name again?
Brandy Elise.
Brandy Elise. Okay, all praise to the Most High. Well, Shalom, Brother Malvu and Sister Brandy Elise, since you are here.
Shalom.
Now, you guys are just now joining the conversation. As you said, you both disagree that a wife could stop the husband. Now, I did say earlier, I do not believe she can physically stop him, right? And because obviously she's not going to tie the man up, well, some women would, tie the man up, point a gun in his face, etc. Right? But in that sense, you're absolutely correct. He can go and do whatever the hell he wants, just as much as realistically she can go do whatever the hell he wants or she wants, right? If she wants to go commit adultery, she does have that opportunity. Now, whatever judgment God is going to pass on her, it is what it is. But what I mean by stopping the husband, where's the remote, sweetheart? I'm sorry. Okay. As far as stopping him, what I mean by that is if she says no, then damn, I can't find this off switch. I'm trying to turn this damn TV off. If she says no, then that should be it, because of regardless of whatever reasoning she has, then he needs to work on that. Kind of going to what Brother Mabu just said. If there still needs work, then you can't be going on to the next thing, right? So as much as the man has the opportunity to go do whatever he wants, if we're going to use that logic, then the woman is going to do whatever she wants, and that can create confusion. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I like that perspective. I'd add to that. I'd say that if a man takes on another wife, he's not in sin. But I would say most of the time, it's not wisdom, right? It's, especially in 2026, it may not be the wisest thing to do, considering the state of our nation scattered abroad, right? It's not sin. I can't say that it's sin. I can't condemn him. I can't say that the Lord can condemn it. However, if the wife decides to go, I'm gonna go do my own thing, now we're talking about sin, and that might be problematic. So that, I would say that it's not fair. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that very kind of clear. Because I think some people hear it and they're like, man, guys get to do this and girls don't get to do it. Yes, that's true. It's not fair, but it is the Lord's order and protection. And everything rests and falls on good and proper leadership. And if you have a man who understands that his job is to be the expression of Christ in his marriage, that means that he is the provider, he is the protector, and he's to lead her with understanding. That's the role of a husband. If he's doing that, that's a very heavy responsibility. It's a large weight just to do that for one person, right? That's huge just to do that for one person. Now you multiply that again to a few other people. Like I've been with my wife about, 23 years? Mm-hmm. We talk about how the first 10 years of our marriage was trash, how we had to climb out of that together, and change essentially. Myself, she had to change. I had to lead her. It took a lot of work to be able to, if I had to do that with 2 or 3 other people, I'd be bald. You know what I'm saying? I have the George Jefferson, with the runway down the middle. I really believe Moses had that because that brother was stressed out. But I digress. So the husband's responsibility is to protect, provide, and to lead by understanding. And then the wife, you remember him, love? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
To submit, mm-hmm. to support the vision, my Lord's vision, mm-hmm. and to steward his home or his things.
Right. And we see this expression reflected between Israel and the Lord, in the Old Testament. It's a perfect one-to-one. And then we also see it between Christ and the church, most especially when we get back into the land. It's a one-to-one. Christ is the husband, the church is the bride. And so in that expression with the wife submitting to her husband like she would into Christ, supporting his vision, and then also nurturing his estate, taking care of his home, right? When we have the husband protecting, providing, and leading her with understanding, it's a beautiful exchange. It's a beautiful exchange. But oftentimes, what we tend to see is hey, she's disrespecting me, so I'm going to go get somebody else. Hey, he's not listening to me, so I'm going to talk to this person on Facebook. And then over time, they find reasons to justify these actions, and they jump to these other relationships. And because they didn't fix the problem within themselves, they end up repeating the exact same thing with those. And this is why, when someone gets divorced, the chances of you getting divorced again is 50, 60%, some crazy number like that, because you never fixed the problem with yourself. You never watered your own grass. You thought it was greener over there, but you're the problem, and you're bringing the problem everywhere you go. But I said a lot. Rob, I'm going to give you back the floor. I appreciate you letting me speak.
Does anybody else have anything to say about what I said about concerning the fact that, if the man is able to do whatever he wants, then realistically, so can the woman. Before I say my rebuttal, if you will.
Can I ask you, Rob, when you say the woman can do whatever she wants, what do you mean by that?
Realistically, because I guess a man can, beat a woman, if you will, because he's physically stronger. But if we're saying that a woman cannot stop her husband from going and get another wife simply because of the physicality, he can do whatever he wants, well, then that means if you didn't listen to her and she goes and does whatever she wants, you can't get mad at that. Now, I have an expansion that I would like to add, but I want to hear what everybody else has to say first.
Just so I understand real quick.
I'm not saying it's okay for her to commit adultery if that's what you're asking.
No, I'm not going to go down that road. Making things contentious. I understand that's what you're trying to say.
Okay.
But I'm curious from your perspective, how would she stop it?
Mm-hmm. Literally, regardless of her reasoning, let's say her reason is strictly emotional, but she tells him, no, I don't want you to have another wife. Then that should be the end of the conversation. Of course, with an additional counsel, right? Someone who doesn't necessarily have a dog in the fight, have a counsel with it, etc. But if the wife doesn't feel comfortable, regardless of the reason, then that should be it. That's what I mean by stopping him.
Gotcha. So it sounds like to me you're saying that he should just listen to her.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not like she's actually stopping him. He's just listening to her.
Yeah, so like for example, he ran it by her, and he's like, "Yo, I think this sister is pretty. I would like to, potentially court her, etc. Bring this. Let's just say it's at the stage one of, hey, I want to bring this to the elders, right? See what they have to say." And she says, "Nah, I don't think so. I don't want another woman, right? Let's say she doesn't even give a reason at all. She's just like, nah, I just don't want another one, right? For me, that means that there's still, like you said, there's still something for him to work on. And if we continue and say, well, that's her prerogative, that's her perspective, but he can go do whatever he wants. Well, then don't be mad when she does whatever the hell she wants.
I agree with you on the part where, it's kind of like the husband is taking the stance of, what's the word? Leading her with understanding, right? Like, hey, I don't feel comfortable. I think that needs to be addressed between the husband and the wife that he does have. I think that's very important. I wouldn't take the position where if he decides to do it, and let's just say he does decide to do it, and, and let's just say there's no sin there, right? He does decide to do it. There's no sin there. I don't think that validates her now doing, quote unquote, whatever she wants to do. Because then now we are talking about sin. And so really in a situation like that, because I have one brother, just to make it personal, Rob, I got one brother in our congregation who does have, 2 wives. Now, mind you, everybody else has one wife. And all the wives were very adamant, yo, we're not for this multiple things, multiple marriage. We're not about that. But when they met this brother and his 2 wives, he's done an amazing job of leadership to where, right, mm-hmm. where these sisters, they work together in managing their home. They work together in raising their children. There's no contention. And he's done a great job. Now, every man is not like this, because I don't believe it's good for man not to be alone, but not everybody's qualified to be a husband. You know what I'm saying? So it's there's that too. And then you add a second wife on top of that. That takes an immense amount of leadership to be able to do that. And I don't think that's for everybody. But I wouldn't say if he doesn't, now she gets to do whatever she wants to do. I think that's the dangerous part there. Even though I do agree that, hey, if she's expressing hey, there's something, I don't feel comfortable, I don't like this, I agree that it is his responsibility and obligation to bring peace in that relationship. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to personalize it as well. As a wife, I would never tell my Lord that he can't do something. I would express, my thoughts about it. But ultimately the decision is his, and I respect that decision. That line of thinking, well, if he doesn't listen to me or take into account what I want, and he goes ahead and does it anyway, so I'm going to do what I want to do. That's a very rebellious and unrighteous way of approaching things. And then that can apply to everything. So any decision that he makes, that maybe he doesn't take my advice or he doesn't do what I want him to do, well, you're going to do what you want to do anyway, so I can do what I want to do. And that's a very rebellious spirit. And the scriptures talk about how rebelliousness is as witchcraft. So that's just blatant sin and unrighteousness. So I just think that whole line of thinking.
So what's the solution? If you're uncomfortable in a situation like that, what would be if I said, I'm going to go get another wife, mm-hmm. and you felt really uncomfortable about that? Because there are sisters who go through this.
Right.
How would you approach that then?
I mean, I definitely let you know how I feel about it in a respectful way. Mm-hmm. I would probably advise against it, mm-hmm. but I would just have to already know in my heart that this is my Lord and he's going to make whatever decision that he thinks is best. And I trust him to make the best decision for our family. So I don't see it. I don't understand. And I really don't agree. But I trust him. And I'm just going to pray. All right, Father, if this is the decision that he's made, will you please help him find a good wife that will complement our family? I'm not going to resist what your will is. I'm going to pray, okay, if this is what the situation is going to be, okay, let her be, a righteous woman. Let her have the fruits of the Spirit. Let her be an addition to our family and not take away. So that's what I would do. I would just be in the background praying for a favorable situation.
And we talked about this, my wife and I. We've talked about this, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the type of work it takes to be able to craft the character of your wife, because they don't tell you as a husband. There's going to be a lot of times where you're going to have to actually step in and fill in the gaps of a father. Like all the things that her father didn't do, you're going to have to step in and be like, quote unquote, her father, and train her in a lot of places that he didn't. Yo, that takes a lot of work. And there's nights going to bed with headaches, and, you know, it interrupts being able to be intimate emotionally, physically. You know what I mean? Like, that takes a lot of work, and be able to take that responsibility, that daunting responsibility of leadership with a whole entire person, with their whole entire background and their whole entire issues and baggages. That's not something that I'm really ready to take, because I understand the gravity, the weight of leadership. So I really don't want to do that. And I think a lot of brothers don't really understand the weight and gravity. Like, hey, that soul is under your responsibility, you know, and that, you know, you're supposed to help her to be more like Christ as you are working to be more like Christ. And that's a heavy thing to do. Yeah, but.
And just real quick on the flip side, I will also say, coming into the truth, and then even just my husband's culture in general, like having multiple wives, even way before we were in the truth, that was like a normal thing in his culture.
Yeah, I'm Congolese. I'm from West Africa.
Yeah, so I already, in my mind, knowing his culture and then coming into the truth, know that it's a possibility that he could take on a second wife or multiple other wives. So I just already have to know that in my mind and just be settled with that fact and already know how I would handle the situation. So it's not like if he ever came out and said that, it would be a complete shock to me. Like, I know that's a possibility. So I've already...
well, you knew it in the past. Like nowadays, it's like, I'm not interested.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I'm just, you're not interested. And I'm just saying, if you ever did that, make that choice, like, I already have settled in my heart how to deal with that.
I like my hair is jet black. I got like 1 or 2 grays.
You have a few.
Because from our conversations, but
I do too.
You got no grays at all. You live really good. You know, but anyhow, Rob, you got it, man. I appreciate you for letting us speak. I'm sorry.
No, all praise to the Most High. I mean, again, does anybody, before I go on my expansion of she would be able to do whatever she wants to, does anybody else have anything to say about that perspective? Okay. Real. 1 sec. So this is the reason why I say that. First of all, let's start with the sin aspect, right? If me and this woman are working together, like you said, Mabu, it would be wise for him to listen to his wife, right? Yes, baby. Okay, let's keep these up here, okay? With your socks. It would be wise for him to listen to his wife, correct? Okay, 1 second. I'll think about it. Mommy and I will talk about it. If he fails to listen to his wife, you would consider that as unwise, correct?
For the sake of this conversation, I'm going to say I agree with that. Right? If she is feeling uncomfortable, I think he needs to address that. But he's the leader, right? He's the head. He's the leader, and she's submitted to him, and so he can listen. But he's not obliged to obey because he's the head, right?
Okay. So what about everybody else? Would it be outside of wisdom, right, for him to take the consideration of his wife saying, no, I don't agree about adding another person to this household, and that stopping him from doing so, whether he acts against it or with it? If he acts against it, is that outside of wisdom? What does everybody say?
I think wives can give amazing advice and wisdom, like fantastic. So I'm a CEO as well, and I have people who advises me, and someone like, and that's typically like how business structure usually have a leader, president, CEO, CTO, whatever, right? And they get advice from those who serve them on the team to let them know what direction to go in. And I think like my wife has given me great advice on finances, business, things of that nature. And I think that's an approach. Hey, a wife could come and be like, hey, not only does this not make me feel comfortable, but here's where we are financially, and this is how it impacts our finances, right? This is where we are from this standpoint, and this is how it impacts this over here. Like there's a lot of things that a wife could bring to the table that can give a husband more wisdom and insight that he might not see. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with the husband taking wisdom from his wife by any means.
Right, but I'm saying if he decides to go against, because remember, he can do what he wants. So if he decides to go against how she feels, again, regardless if she says she disagrees out of emotion or she has a sensible perspective, let's say she have a reason at all, she just doesn't want another wife in the household. If he decides to go against that, is that wise? That's my question right now. So for everybody, yes or no, real quick.
I think that's subjective. Sister Amara, go ahead, you got it. Oh, I'm sorry, brother Amara, my apologies. Go ahead.
You good? I was just saying, like,
Nah, that's it wouldn't be wise to just go and do whatever you want.
Anybody else before I continue?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's not to just ignore her would be unloving, right? Like we wouldn't treat our brothers as that way.
Now you added another factor. You just made it worse because so now you just made it worse, Marvel, because if he's not acting in a loving manner, and you said that her going to do whatever she wants, now we're talking about sin. If he's not loving her, isn't that a sin?
That's going to be subjective from person to person because we're talking about emotions. So if my wife is telling me that she feels uncomfortable about something, I teach and believe it is a loving thing to do to be able to listen to her. And her feelings could be real. Right. Her feelings could be real, but it don't mean everything that she's saying is true. There's that technicality a lot of people don't speak about. Like what you feel is real, but it don't mean that everything that you're saying is actually true.
I agree. Right. I'm just you mentioned two things. It's unwise and it's unloving. I think that's why I need everybody to respond. Do you guys agree that if he goes on to do his own thing, it would fall under those two categories as being unwise and unloving, regardless of if she gives a reason that is sensible or not?
But those things matter.
Just got to validate.
I'm alright. If you were next to the rib, you might go on a like that.
Real quick, Shapashi, make this profile a mod, please. Go ahead, Azan or Azan.
Now, you should always consider, the things that your wife is saying. I think we might be talking about two different types of situations. And you should always consider how your wife feels about it. But as far as, the final say being what it is and what it is that you're trying to do is not a sin, and just going along with what your wife says, that's based off of emotions. I think that's more wrong than actually making a decision. Now, I want to be clear. We're not talking about making a promise in the beginning of the marriage or you know, when y'all came together the first time. We're talking about just in general, right?
Yes, in general.
In general, yeah. Like you should always consider your wife's feelings and everything, but when it comes to, you know, making that decision, you know, if she goes off and starts doing what she want to do, you know, that tit for tat type of situation, then, you know, that's a different conversation.
Okay, so I'm going to get to the point in which I'm making here, just so we can continue the conversation. The point that I'm making here is that regardless of her reasoning, whether she has some or not, if she disagrees with it, again, this is just the first stage of the conversation, right? This, if this was to be one, right? Regardless if she has reasoning or not, if she says no, then it would be more wise for him to adhere to it, right? As the leader, being considerate of the person he's supposed to be leading or the people he's supposed to be leading. Because realistically, if we're talking about a real situation, you wouldn't only have to involve your wife. You would also have to involve the children, especially if they're of age to make these types of decisions or be, you know, cognitive about what's going on in the household, because they would also be affected, right? But we're just talking about the husband and wife right now. If he's acting outside of wisdom, just because it's not verbatim written in the law, if you're acting outside of the wisdom that is being provided by the Most High, you're going against him, right? Now, of course, like Mabu said, this could be perception based, right? But ultimately, just because something's not written in the letter, no, this is with me, sweetheart. They're fine. Just because it's not written in the letter, if something is unwise, right, then you're now acting outside of the grace of the Most High, outside of His wisdom, and therefore, depending upon your own wisdom and understanding, which is either going to lead to physical sin or already be in spiritual sin. Does everybody get that? Can you say that again? Either way, right? When you act outside of the wisdom of the Most High, I'm gonna pick you up. Relax. Come here. Hold on, guys. All right. So, regardless if you act outside of the wisdom of the Most High, even if it's not written in the letter, right? We know that doing something unwise is therefore now going against things that He has prescribed for us in some way, shape, form, or fashion, right? Going outside of the lovingness, etc., the consideration, whatever you want to label it as. If we are acting outside of it, then therefore the foundation already is off, right? And it may be a direct sin, but it'll eventually, should I reword it?
No. Rob, you better not relax.
You said what?
Cutting out, or was that just you? Was you cutting out for you?
Was I cutting out for anybody else?
Yeah, you cut out. Second.
Okay, I'll say it just one more time. Or how many other times I need to say it, doesn't matter. We've identified that a man disregarding his husband's opinion, regardless of if emotional or not, would be unwise, unloving, etc. However someone wants to label it, it could be a bad idea, right? When you act in those manners, just because it's not a direct sin according to the letter, right? It could eventually lead to a direct sin according to the letter. Is that something that y'all can perceive, receive, and believe?
Okay, but yeah, if it's leading to sin, though, that's basing the decision on somebody moving with emotion and not on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get what you're saying, but if somebody moves in a way based on their emotions because of the way because of disagreement with something, then that's something that they're doing. Now, you didn't cause that because you didn't do anything for them to sin. They're making that decision based off of an emotional response they're having to your decision. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. But you're not making the man wouldn't be making the emotional decision. He would be making the decision of, okay, my wife is uncomfortable with this. So therefore I'm not going to proceed with it. That's not an emotional decision.
And they both, what if they both go into the relationship understanding that that's a possible?
No, this is just a conversation. We already talked about the whole making commitment thing, oath giving thing, or whatever. So now this is just a conversation that they're having. He brings it to her. He says, she says, no.
Give us an example.
This is the example.
What's the conversation? Okay, go ahead.
The conversation is this. Hey, sweetheart, I like this woman. I think she's pretty. I want to start pursuing her. I don't know I don't know if we should be adding another wife to the household right now. I'm really against it. Okay, sweetheart. Well, maybe we can revisit another time, or maybe we talk about it some more later. But because you're against it, you don't think it's a good idea. I won't do it. Right? So that's what I mean by she's able to stop him because he's listening to her. If we take the route of, well, technically he can do whatever he wants. What realistically, if we're talking about a good leader, right? If this man is a man of God, a good leader, why would he just go do what he wants? Go ahead.
Then the conversation would have to be, okay, why? Okay, you want this wife, why? And then he would have to give the reason. Like, I think there would have to be a reason. I don't think it's just, nah, I don't want to because you think she's pretty and, I'm saying? But then, even though, I don't think it's something we should do right now or something that has. I think the response should be, well, what is the reason for it? What is she going to be bringing to the family household or to the family union? I think there's factors that need to be talked about as to the whys. Like, why are we adding another wife?
Well, realistically, he wouldn't know because he hasn't even really talked to this woman.
Right. So then I guess the decision should be based off of the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, if you just like, she's fine as hell. She need to be my rib now. I need to have two wives now. Then yeah, I mean, I think there should be a conversation as to your reasons. But if there's a good reason and the wife is like, nah, I don't want to do it because, I'm your only wife and all this other stuff. But he has, there's factors in it as far as, bringing extra income to the household or I want more kids and whatever the situation may be. I think the conversation or that decision would be based on the conversation that you're actually having and to the whys as to why you want to have a second wife. I cut in and out.
Nah, you good, brother. I think he just doing something with it.
Can y'all repeat the question again? I'm in the store grocery shopping. I heard a little bit, but I want to respond to it. I think I did have something to say.
Go ahead. I'm doing something with my daughter right now.
You know what I'm saying? Can you finish repeating the question again for me? Because I heard half of it, but I'm in the store grocery shopping.
Basically, what I'm saying is because if the husband acts outside of his wife's perspective, if he just goes and does whatever he wants, it's against wisdom, i.e., it would eventually be against the Most High and lead to some type of sin. That's what my point is.
I definitely agree on that because at the end of the day, that's like you say, not having wisdom and good judgment, and not having that can lead up to bigger punishments because you're not actually dealing with the fruits of the spirit, So that's what I would say on that.
Anybody else?
I think it's just based off of the conversation and the reason. Like, I think the conversation is gonna be the basis on, what the decision is gonna come to. You know what I mean? Like, I get why. What's up, Ian? Yeah, I think it's based off of the conversation, right? Like I think every conversation is going to lead to a different type of response, if that makes sense.
Okay, anybody else? Baby, you have to shower, not going outside. No. Sorry, guys, about the background.
Yeah, nah, you good. My daughter like that too, man. Like I told you, no, she hate hearing that word no. That's what she started going on.
I think all women hate hearing the word no, don't y'all, ladies?
Boy, you funny.
Where the women at in this one? Is the man in wrong by doing against what she suggests? Where y'all at? Where the ladies at, man?
Yeah, I definitely want to hear their perspective on this. Given the different conversations that you can have with your husband, and the circumstances that you are at in life, you know, what that conversation would be like.
Shamayam, Allah Aksha. I'm so sorry, Mabu. What's your wife's name again? I want to say Bianca, but I don't think that was it.
You talking to me, Rob?
Yes, sir.
What'd you ask me?
What's your wife's name?
Oh, Elise. She's
Elise.
Yeah.
Is she still near you to add to this after what I just said? I
actually we just actually separated. She's doing her thing. I'm on a completely different part of the property, but I'm still listening in, Rob. I'm still listening. I'm waiting for a good opportunity to be able to chime in. But if you wouldn't mind recounting what you said, if that's not if that's okay.
Yeah, I think it's funny how Mabu just like kind of slid in there. I'm on a different part of the property. Mabu out there got land like that.
Right. I mean, you could be in the living room, and it's a different part of the property than the bedroom.
Nah,
right?
brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Property, unless you got land, stop it.
Nah, man. Hey, the sky's blue above me, just like y'all, man. Y'all got it.
Yeah, anybody else have anything to add in? Jerome, I see you down there. You've been listening for a minute. No, you can chime in.
I really wanted to see what the sisters would have said about that perspective that I shared. But now that I have shared that particular perspective, do you guys still think, again, this woman, if, again, the man is acting within wisdom, within the guidelines of wisdom that's provided scripturally, right, can the woman stop him from having another wife?
To a certain point. Like the brother was saying, I would have to ask, depending on her answer, I would have to ask why. Would you say yes or no? And depending on her answer, You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be, it most likely it wouldn't be wise.
Okay. Yeah, same for me as well. You know, you have to go off of her Salaki if I interrupt somebody. But you have to go off of you know, ask her why she feels that way. Because at the end of the day, if it's just going off of her emotions and she, you know, feels like this and this and this, you know, you have to understand why.
Being selfish.
Want to share her husband. Is it something that is that unwise on the woman?
You cut out it, bro.
Like if she have a direct reason, right? If she just doesn't want to share, is that a good quality to have or a righteous quality to have?
You had cut out at the beginning.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
What about now?
You good.
Okay. So the question was this: is it a righteous quality for a woman to have to not want to share her husband?
Say that one more time.
Is it a righteous quality for a woman to have for her to not want to share her husband?
I think it's a, you know, valid point for her not to want to. I wouldn't say necessarily righteous. Well, I can't say it's not righteous because every woman's entitled to their own, you know, feelings. So I can't say that is it righteous because at the end of the day, she might have her reasons why. Because the husband might not be, you know, legit on things that he's supposed to be doing. But she might have her reasons, you know.
Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, what if her reason is literally because she just doesn't want to share? What if that is her reason?
Then that's not a righteous act.
Okay. Sisters, I really need to hear from the sisters, man. The sisters are really quiet on this one.
My wife really can't talk because I think the kids, you know, in the car.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Can she tell you what she would want to say?
I was in the store. I'm just not getting back to the car.
Oh, okay. All praise to the Most High. What about Shamayam? Shamayam was talking earlier. Where's she at? Or Mavu, is your wife still next to you? Where's she at?
My wife said she don't think it's righteous.
Okay, fair enough. Praise the Lord. My daughter eventually got to go outside, so now we're getting jumped by ducks.
I was wondering what I was hearing. I'm like, what is that noise?
Yeah, there's a bunch of ducks in the background. Ranisha Nicole in the audience says polygyny is wicked, so I definitely want to hear from her. And this is not a place, huh?
I want to know why she said that too. Yeah.
Well, no, not just that I want to hear why she say that, but I want to know the perspective of the last question and then how she would deal with it, etc. I really want to hear. Go ahead.
And who she dealt with, and was it because of her past relationship?
Yeah. All the ducks out here love my daughter.
Back up.
She don't know that the ducks will F her up, bro.
Is it ducks or the geese?
Both. There's more geese though. Way more geese. I would say there's probably like 20 geese and there's only like 3 or 4 ducks.
Yeah.
The geese are really aggressive though.
Yeah, don't think that.
Come on. No. Hey, don't get out the street. Let's go.
Hey, Rob, quick question.
Uh-huh.
Do y'all eat ramen noodles?
I used to, not anymore, really. I would, though.
You still would?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? I do every once in a while. Okay, come. But we haven't ate them in so long.
It's just high sodium, that's all. And I already have enough. I already eat enough unhealthy food.
You say it's just sodium.
Heavy sodium in such a small dish. Yeah, way too much salt.
So it's not because they're unclean.
There are particular ones that are unclean, but no, I don't think that themselves is unclean. I know that on the package it says that it's made in a factory with shellfish and shit like that. But I mean, if we go by that, we literally wouldn't be able to eat anything because they cross-contaminate everything. Yeah. Azon, if you're able to respond, I mean, what do you think about the a woman not wanting to share her man? Is that wicked or unrighteous?
I don't think it's unrighteous or wicked for somebody not to want to, for a wife not to want to share her husband. I think there needs to be standing as to what it actually is, because it's like this, man. We're all Americanized. We trying to wash ourselves and our minds off of the shit we was raised to believe here in this country. And a woman and or man, when it comes to that, everything turns sexual. It's never about anything else. It's always about the laying down part. And I don't blame a sister for not wanting to, quote unquote, share her man based off of that thought, right? I'm not going to fault her for that. We got to think beyond that, though, because that's not what this is about. At the end of the day, there's only so many children that a woman can have. There's only so much that you can do as a singular unit in this country. Now, can it be done? Sure. Can you be with one wife and be happy? Yeah, I've been doing it for the last 24, 25 years. It was a lot of work. It was tough, but we endured, and sacrifices were made to raise children in a two-family household. But I never thought like, okay, well, this ain't working. Let me get a second wife. No, that thought would come in if necessary, or I felt like, sometimes you can make a connection with somebody else, a spiritual connection with somebody else. But no, I'm going away from your point. I don't think it's unrighteous for a female to not want to share her man. I think the thought of what, or her thought behind it, is wrong. And I think that just comes with better understanding and teaching of what it actually means to have an extended unit, if that makes sense. I'm not going to fault the sister for being Americanized and thinking away when we all can be retaught according to the scriptures. So even us, man.
Fair enough. Okay, I will say that I appreciate that perspective about the Americanization, because that is a good point. We can't sit here and fault them for how they grew up and the environment that they were raised in. That's pointing a finger. That's like the pot calling the kettle black. We have a lot of our perspectives that really, and I tell this to people all the time, that a lot of thoughts that we have as individuals are not ours. It takes a lot of power by God to really come out of the ability of, or excuse me, I'll rephrase. It takes a lot of power given by God to really think alone, or to have individual thoughts, to be able to think outside of the normal perspective. So very much so, I agree. I think that was a great point, that we can't really fault our sisters for being Americanized in this particular manner. I do want to say that the sharing of the man, though, doesn't always have to be so intimate, I would say, because
just say sexualized, because that's what it is.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true. That is typically where it goes to, right, as far as the sharing. But maybe to expand it a little bit in the sense of, let's say, like, for example, matter of fact, hold on, I totally forgot to say this, and most I put on my spirit to say it, so I have to make sure I do. I want everybody to know that the things that I'm saying, this is not how I run my household. This is no reflection of necessarily how we counsel marriages. I'm just saying what comes to my mind in provoking thought so that we can have critical conversations or critical thinking type of conversations. I have to make that absolutely clear. All right. I'm governed by the Torah of the Most High. We are governed by the Torah of the Most High. We seek counsel of our elders, and we do submit ourselves one to another by his grace, mercy, and strength. So I had to make that clear before we continue. But I think the sharing aspect doesn't always have to be so intimate as you said, as you stated it typically is. But like, for example, let's say in a household where because of the fact that the man makes most of the money, or all of the money in the sense of where, he's able to take care of the household, the children are taken care of, etc. Then another woman is introduced. Now he also has to take care of her. It's getting hot. You want to go back inside? Oh, it's a great decision, sweetheart. Let's turn around. Come on. See that? Praise the see. If I was to disregard your thought process there, I don't know where we would end up. Right? Okay. But yeah, so, it could potentially financially diminish from one woman to the other as well. In the fact of sharing, because now they have to share his income. Right? Just to open up the thought of that. Do you guys think that plays a role? And Sister Eden, shalom to you. Definitely look forward to hearing from you on this perspective.
You cut out, Rob.
What was the last thing y'all heard me say?
No, it was the income part. What was your question on the income part?
Basically, financially, it's not just the intimate thing. They would also have to share him financially, kind of just to expand the horizon or the thought process of the sharing thing.
Right. I think that's when, that whole, together unit comes into play. There's actually a tribe over there, and I don't know if Mabu can expound on this, but I remember watching this video years ago, like 2019, 2020. There's a whole tribe in, I want to say, West Africa, and the women there talk about the benefits of having multiple marriages. One of them, and excuse me for this, but she said, and this is just on that side of the conversation, was said, a man produces millions of sperm a day. It doesn't make any sense. That was one of her points. The other point was them having a big family unit and being able to help each other out when it comes to the financials, when it came to the resources and what each wife brings to the table. So when it comes to all of that, man, I think there's mad benefits to it if it's done correctly. But you got to be able to, and this is where I always stand on it. If you have an interest in bringing another wife into the household, Shemayim said something earlier. You got to be able to have them talk. They can't just live together or be around each other and then be willing to, quote unquote, share you, because, and then not get along. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures talk about, not hating one wife and loving one more than the other, right? How can you, I think that goes for the sisters as well. You can't just have them hating each other and then expect to have this family unit that is supposed to be successful. It can't happen. It cannot happen.
You said the scriptures talk about what?
Oh, did I cut out?
You said, just for me, I'm sure. You said the scriptures talk about what? You can't do what with one wife?
About hating one wife and loving the other, right? So when it comes to the wives, I think it's important that they have the conversation too and become comfortable with each other so that you can have a successful unit. Everybody's on one accord. So yeah, when it comes to the financial aspect of it, I think it's a collective thing. Definitely, I believe, this is why I work because I believe I should be out there, making this income and doing what I got to do. But in the times that we're in right now, I think it's beneficial when it comes to that aspect of the relationship. Where what if she brings that to the table and y'all make it work?
Okay. Does anybody else have something to add right now?
If she brings what to the table,
Are we still going home, Shamar?
I was trying to figure out what he said when she said if what she brings to the table. If she brings what to the table?
Talking about the financial aspect, because she said, when it comes to the finances, a woman sharing her husband, now he got to take care of both. Now, on that same side, though, if you can't afford to take care of, you barely struggling enough to pay rent and pay bills, and you're barely making it with one wife, I don't think it's wise to go and grab a second wife. Now, if you have some type, and then you shouldn't just go and get a second wife just to be like, it seems like you got your shit together and I need help with my finances. That should, to me, I think that's wicked. Like, don't just go and grab a woman because she got money and she can help you out. That don't make no sense to me. I think you should have a spiritual connection and a genuine love for that female, and then whatever comes with it. But that's what I was saying, though.
I definitely agree with that, with everything you just said about financially. But you shouldn't go out because you want another wife, so you be like, okay, let me get her so I help with my finance. I feel like there's a week, I feel like they're typically just trying to get a pass to get another wife. Be like, oh, we can help each other out, this, then, and third. But yeah, I agree with you on everything you said.
Unless, of course, that's the agreement.
But still, even if that's the agreement, for me, I feel like that don't make it right. I feel like that's still borderline weak to me because you're basically trying to get a pass to have another wife, which is to deal with your finances because we in captivity, and you'd be like, oh, well, we in captivity, but at the end of the day, like, you're still looking for a wife for, that's when the brother, to piggyback on it, sexual reasons, because really, it's not just finances, it's also sexual too, because when it really boils down to another wife, that's really what it is either financial, sexual as well, of course, and I feel like brother said, you gotta have a spiritual connection for you to actually, because if you want another wife in today's time, it's because you either need help financially or you're lusting. That's the only two ways I see it, like in general. But if you're spiritually connected, you're not finna worry about neither one of those things. You know what I'm saying? You finna just worry about building, and that can come later. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, all praise to the Most High. So, this has got to be from the brothers now. What are other reasons? What are significant reasons to want another wife?
I would say.
Uh-oh.
What you say? For?
Guns brothers ain't talking.
I just got kicked out. What happened?
I said, what are significant reasons a brother would need another wife or want another wife?
Like I was saying earlier, man, there's sometimes, you can make a connection with another female. There may be situations where you want more children. Ain't nothing wrong with a man wanting to have more kids, but it's unfortunate that sometimes, your wife may not be able to produce that for you. But I wouldn't just get up and go get a wife and then be like, yeah, I want a wife because I want, you're my wife because I want more babies. No, there's a way to go about that. I don't want to just get with somebody and I don't even know this person. But I mean, I would say that's significant. I think if you out in the world and you living your life and you run into another sister and you guys make this connection on a spiritual level, emotional level, there's some kind of connection with y'all. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And then, like the other one with the kids, man. But other than that, man, like on a sexual level, like, oh, you look good as hell and I want to like, nah, I think that's ridiculous, man. Like, it don't make any sense to just get with somebody just because you like the way they look.
Well, okay, so if we're going to go with that aspect, any marriage, though, what does it start with as far as the dude? You don't just start talking to a woman. You don't have no spiritual connection with no woman immediately. It's because of how she looks that you want to talk to her, no?
Yes, it is about you having a natural attraction to whoever it is that you addressing. What I'm saying is, it shouldn't just be like, you shouldn't just be like, you're my wife now because I like the way you look. No, I think that's unwise. You can have this woman fine as hell and she wicked as hell. She as wicked as she is fine. Nobody wants that. Men learn that all the time. Women learn that all the time. Women do the same thing. Oh, she liked the way this dude looked. He ended up being a demon. And now she's stuck with him. Or something worse happens. You know what I'm saying? So it's not so much the attraction. Like, yeah, you're going to be attracted to somebody. You're going to want to learn them. Are they worth being, are they worth my time? Is that somebody I want to spend my life with type of situation?
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
So I'm just black tuning in. I had to go to my mom's house real quick. But I caught the last little bit. But yeah, off the perception of just off of the looks, because I saw a video a brother was giving from IUIC, and they was talking about how this lady, she wanted this man, and he was, and they was like, you want that man, and they weren't saying because he was a bad dude, but they was like, sister, you're reaching, like. So basically, long story short, they was like, they got together, and he got with it, and he regretted it, after that, because at the end of the day, that ain't, he was going off of what she can do for him. I think they were saying, because like he was like, she can cook, she take care, she wash clothes and stuff like that, but it wasn't working out for them. But that's to let you know that they went off of just looks and what somebody can do for them instead of going off the spirit, So yeah. Okay, my wife just put me on game.
What'd she say?
What's the reason to want another wife?
That's what you were asking. That's what.
Yeah, that was the question. What was another significant reason? Because of course, everybody keeps talking about financial and intimate. I'm using the term intimate to stray away from that 3-letter word. So it's because YouTube is still picking this up. So aside from intimate or financial, what is another significant reason us brothers would want another woman?
So I've said it before. I don't know if it would be a legit reason, but I'm thinking, to help around on the feast days and stuff like that when we're not really congregating. That was just one of them, and also, sisters not being in the truth and you're not really able to bond with other sisters. Also having that around, that was my perspective of it. I'm not saying it's right. That was just a perspective I had. That was my opinion.
So basically, you want a mate.
No. I'm saying, like, that's the help, like, because I'm already, I'm going to help out regardless when I'm needed at. But I'm just saying, say, for instance, things tied up at work, and we all got to be quick, that's just another helping hand is what I'm saying. Like, it ain't like a maid, but it's just like, it'll be helpful, because at the end of the day, we still got to do it regardless of having another wife or not, it still comes with it. But I was just saying it, like, that would be another legit reason, but also, like I said, the other reason was for the other real to have somebody to communicate with as long as they're in that safe space, because at the end of the day, women know women. So if she was to be around, but they have to know each other first, get to know each other to make sure that's going to happen, courting and all that stuff. But that's just the other reason, you know, because you gotta think, like, for us right now, me and my Red, we don't have nobody really around us that we communicate with, in the truth, hang with, besides when we come to down to Miami, you know, once or twice a year. Right now, we just started. So it's just like having somebody, another woman in the truth, would take a load off and also be spiritually effective for my wife, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm just saying that's just the opinion I had. Like the perks, you know, you got pros and cons. That it would just be a pro, I think.
All right. Any other brothers that might have a significant reason to want a second wife?
But let me make it clear, I'm not looking.
Anybody else? Renisha, man, you over there in the comments, cuz. You had to get on the stage, talk to us, man. You said polygyny is outrightly evil.
For me, I would say for more kids, and you know, somebody else to talk to that's inside of the household, you know, and help out. Try to have a balance, you know, not going right with the other rib, you know. You don't want to go outside the household or whatever and go talk to a stranger that don't know what's going on inside of the house. So, you know.
Okay. Well, all praise, honor, glory to you. How about Shemi? I'll try real quick. I'm gonna reset on the YouTube. Shalom, everybody. You know what I'm saying? I walked off for a little second, but hopefully y'all was able to hear the conversation. Right now, we're at the point of the conversation of basically what are good reasons a man would want another wife. That's where we are in the conversation. What are good reasons? What are significant reasons as a man for a man to want another woman? Don't really look too much at my hair, you know what I'm saying? They ain't calmed down or anything, look crazy. Right. And so far what I heard, I mean, I don't think women would take these reasons and be like, oh, that's a good reason, right? So now let's ask the women, right? I know Renisha said the new poly, which I don't know what you meant by that. You know what I'm saying? Lord willing, you get on the stage soon, maybe you can clarify or something like that. I don't know what you mean by the new poly. But sisters, whether in YouTube, Clubhouse, now asking y'all, Allah Shah, you're kind of the last one left, unless Renisha joins the stage. I was hoping to hear from Eden earlier, right? But sisters, maybe y'all can help us. What would be a good reason for us to add another wife to the household? What can y'all think of? Right now, we got basically helping out around the house. We got helping out, you know, cleaning, feast days, cooking, you know, helping out with that stuff. Aside from intimacy, aside from financial, what is another reason we could consider adding a woman to the household? Can y'all sisters help us out?
The only thing I can think about is for children. That's the only thing that comes to mind at this time.
She said she don't need no help around the house, cuz.
She don't need nobody to help her sweep, nobody to help her mop. You know what I'm saying? Nobody help her do the dishes, you know? Nobody to talk to. I would say because a lot of times women, you know, they're looking for a friend, right? Especially in the truth. I remember one of the very first things I told my wife now, when we were starting out, I said to watch out for these sisters in the truth, right? I said, watch out for these sisters in the truth. And the reason I said that was because, you know, I've seen a lot, and brothers too, brothers too. I've seen a lot of backstabbing, gossiping, etc. So I said, just be careful. I know you want to make friends and stuff like that, but we got to just be careful. So maybe another reason significantly could be, for the current wife to have a true friend. If she approves of the woman, that would mean they would be friends. Maybe they do things together, except to go get their hair done together, go get their nails done together, and therefore wouldn't be so dependent upon, friendships that are outside the house. What do y'all think about that?
That's what I was just thinking before you restarted the room.
Con. Okay.
Because instead of going out, like you said, gossiping or trying to solve problems by talking to somebody else outside the household,
Mm-hmm.
and we have that person inside the household other than second person or third, matter of fact, to talk to about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Y'all all three can come together and try to work things out.
Okay. We finally have Ranisha on the stage. Ma'am, am I pronouncing your name properly? Ranisha Nicole?
Yes.
Okay. You say polygyny is evil. Can you expound upon what you mean by that first?
So what I was saying in the chat is I think that the poly, because I don't know your beliefs. I was just trying to kind of gauge. I didn't know if this was like Israelites or Christians. I don't know if you guys believe in the New Testament. I just didn't know. But just in general, I do believe that the poly that goes on nowadays is completely different than the poly that was in the Bible, regardless of, anyone's beliefs.
Different how exactly?
So I do agree with, I think it was Amaria who was talking about a lot of times nowadays it's just either about sex or getting help with bills. I hear a lot of poly men talk about how they go, they split it between them and their other 2, 3, 4 women. And yeah, I just think it's lustful. I think it's lustful and it's about money. I don't think it's about how it was in the Old Testament where it was about the women, because obviously women didn't have rights back then. And it was more of being a provider and provision over the women versus just a lustful situation. I also think that the money is a big aspect because the men actually could afford poly. Unfortunately, nowadays, men can't even really afford one household completely. They're going to need their wife, to have her income also. So I think that if you can't even fully provide for one family, it's very selfish to want to bring another woman into that situation.
Okay, so you're saying that in the Bible, like for example, during the time of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, David, Solomon, because they were financially stable, that made it less of a lustful thing, or it wasn't so lust based when it was in the Bible or in the biblical narrative.
Correct. Yes, I feel like it wasn't as lust based because imagine having 1,000 wives. You're not going to even be able to get through. Like how much lust can you really have when you have thousands and thousands of wives and concubines? Like it was to protect them. It wasn't because, I seen her and she looks good and now I want to sleep with her, so I'm just going to secretly make her my second wife. Like it wasn't the same situation.
Ah, okay. I definitely, especially in Solomon's particular instance, I also believe that those were a lot of governmentally structured relationships. Like, because we know in those times, a man would give away his daughter as also a peace treaty between two nations. So I would also say that a lot of those relationships were most likely political rather than lust. What about in Jacob's particular instance, though? Because he really wanted Rachel, right? And even though he had Leah, he didn't really want her. He really wanted Rachel. And then even when he got Bilhah and Zilpah, he still just really wanted Rachel. Where do we draw the line saying that lust is okay or not okay, especially considering the fact that majority of marriages are really started by what a man sees and then what a woman hears from the man. You know, a man falls in love with what he sees, a woman falls in love with what she hears. So where do we draw that line?
Yeah, so I think that was tricky because he literally got tricked, like he had always wanted her, but because their father, he wasn't with the program, like he had to do a whole trickery to basically get him to marry. So I don't think it was a thing where because, it was like, oh, I want a second wife. I think that was always his original, like he always wanted her. It was just he got tricked into marrying her sister because she was, he didn't like her as much. He was less attracted to her. Like he got tricked into that. So I think that that's a little bit different.
Okay. What about just in a general sense of the fact that, in order for a man to even feel the need to go talk to a woman, it's because there's an attraction there in some way. Because we can't say that there's a spiritual connection, although people do argue the fact that, you know, there's a spiritual connection in the sense of maybe we walked together before or whatever. It's just like, oh, maybe, our spirits know each other from somewhere sometimes. Some people do argue that. I believe it could be a factor depending. But just on the physical, surface level situation, a man sees a woman, he likes what he sees, so then therefore he starts to talk to her. If we're taking lust out of the equation, does that mean every marriage is now no longer, stamped by God, or should not be a union? Or how do again, where do we draw that line of saying that lust is not good enough, or desire?
No,
Let's use the word
lust is
desire.
fine if it's between your marriage, of course, like the bedroom's undefiled, but I'm speaking of like, even that's why I said I don't know if you guys like, I don't know your beliefs, but like for me, even with the Bible, it says if you even lust at another woman, that you already committed adultery in your heart. But that's not talking about the woman that you're with. It's if you have a wife and there's another woman that you're lusting after. So for me, I don't think lust is wrong when it's in the confines of marriage. But so, to your question, if somebody was getting to know a woman and they're single, then that's completely okay. Yes, of course. You meet somebody, you're attracted to them, even when you're in relationships. I'm not one of those people that acts like it's, not human for people to still be attracted, whether you're in a relationship or not. But then when you go, when you start doing more than just checking yourself, checking your lust, and you actually start to pursue, that's what I don't agree with.
Okay, fair enough. Does anybody else have something they would like to add? Shalom to the brother Magan in the building. Praise the Lord. Anybody else want to add something to what Sister Renisha is saying? No? All right. I guess to help with the perspective thing, we all, well, I can't really speak for all of us. I can speak for like myself, Shapacha Allah Shah Amariah, and Megan. We do identify ethnically and spiritually in the sense of, I guess you can say, religion, as Israelites. Um I believe I'm from the tribe of Ephraim. They believe that they are from the various 12 tribes, Judah, Ephraim, etc. Um, we do also call ourselves Christians, but not colloquially termed or modern Christianized, if you will. We would identify as Christians in the sense of, we follow Christ and do the things that he did, um, as far as obeying the Most High and having faith in the Most High. With that being said, what version of poly are you from? Like when you say today, I want you to go back to that if you can. How do you perceive today's poly exactly?
So, like in terms of like the lust aspect or just in general?
In general, because outside of religious purview, there's real life people practicing this.
Oh yeah, I think it's all lustful. I the law is it's illegal to marry more than one person. So you're always going to have, either you're going to have nobody's married. So it's just, again, you guys are all single, just having sex and doing whatever. Or you're going to have it where you have one wife legally, and then your other wives, I guess you guys do maybe a spiritual ceremony. But I mean, even with that, that puts the second, third, fourth wife in danger, because then, you know, if something were to happen, we all know legally the first wife, she's going to be the only person that's even acknowledged in the court of law in the US. So, yeah.
So the law that you were referring to was the United States law.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the States. I'm in the US.
The reason I asked that question is because there was something somebody told me a while ago, and I have yet to really look into it. But basically, under rabbinic tradition, men are allowed to have multiple wives. But looking it up now, it says you cannot obtain a state-sanctioned marriage license for a second spouse. So, if just because the United States declares it unlawful, does that make the union any less, I guess you can say, holy?
I think so.
Why?
Because the Bible says we have to obey the laws of the land.
What is your religious perspective, if I may ask?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm a Christian. I believe in the Old and New Testament and Jesus Christ as our Savior.
Absolutely. Okay, all praises to the Most High. Only because I definitely don't want to steer off topic. I'm not gonna question you about where it is in the Bible about obeying the laws of the land. I think I know where you would go, but nonetheless, if you were to consider in any capacity, can polygyny be righteous?
In any capacity?
Yeah, like let's say, like, you know, when Christ returns, everything goes back to the way it should be, etc. I don't know what your perception of the kingdom is, whether it's on earth or in heaven. So I guess that would also play a role in it. But like in the kingdom of heaven, if you perceive it to be on earth, do you think polygyny would be something that is practiced?
I don't, but that is a good question, because I know there have been debates about, like, you know, how God allowed it in the Old Testament. But see, that's where my opinion differs, because I don't think that just because something was allowed, that was what God wanted. Because there was a lot of things that God allowed in the Old Testament that we know. I mean, you can even think about marrying your sibling. Like, that's not something we would do today. That I don't believe that's what God wanted us to do. However, back in the day, that was, you know, the norm, just because, again, time was different and the cultural norms were different and they were for different purposes. So because I don't think that just because it was in the Old Testament that it was even something that God wanted to begin with, which I know Israelites, I do know you guys differ from that. I know, at least from what I've heard, you guys do believe that it's something that God approves of. So just based on my opinion, no, I would not think that God would want that, because I don't think he ever wanted that. I just think that because the times were different at that time, he allowed it to fulfill his purpose.
I don't know so much about the siblings thing, to be totally honest. But
like people marrying their siblings and stuff.
Yeah, I've never seen
marrying their brothers' wives, their sisters' wives, their own sister, you know, stuff like that. There was a lot of.
Oh, you're talking about Abraham and Sarah? You talking about Abraham and Sarah?
Multiple. I can get the specific names too if you want them. But no, I'm not talking about when he lied about that being his sister. I just mean like in general. there was a lot of like marriages. Like, for example, even like a person taking up their brother's wife when they pass away, it's like that was a legacy thing. But nowadays people would look at that and say that's completely unacceptable. You know, like, I don't think that that was necessarily holy. I just think that it was something at that time, because of the culture and the way that women didn't have rights, it actually was God's way of provision and protection over women. But again, like, I do know there is like discrepancies in regard to belief. So I do understand that too.
Okay, so again, only because I want this to stay on topic, I really don't want to go too far into the doctrinal thing. But what you mentioned is it does fall along the lines of polygyny. So let's say a man already has a wife, right? And then, considering the time frame dealing with the law you mentioned of if a brother's wife die, oh no, yeah, if his brother dies, he has to take on his wife. In that aspect, would you believe, or does anybody perceive? I'm still talking to everybody, really, so y'all should jump in. Do you guys perceive that as almost a forced state of polygyny?
That's actually a good question. I guess it could be. Now that I think about it, it could be. Because it was the norm, and not that they had to necessarily, but, they would get shunned or looked down upon if not. So I guess you could say it could be considered quote unquote forced.
Okay. Anybody else? Y'all got to get active, man. Lord have mercy.
Hey, we busy right now.
Oh, not it ain't just you on the stage though, King. It ain't just you on the stage now. Brother Megan, Chava.
Scared them away.
Chava did Sister Chava just joined us. All praise, honor, glory to the Most High. I see that you voted yes, so a husband must ask for permission from his wife to get another wife. What do you think about the question that I just asked concerning the law in the Torah? When a brother's brother dies and his wife is now widowed, he has to take on that wife. If he already has a wife, is that a forced case of polygyny?
My rib says yeah.
Okay.
You said is that a forced case?
Yeah, because I mean, he has to take her. He has to take his wife. Otherwise, like Renisha said, it'd be disgraceful for him not to take her.
Yeah, it's a forced situation.
But given from the Most High.
Let's go ahead and add that in there. Praise the Lord. What about? What'd you say?
But was it?
I mean, it's in the Torah. It's his law.
Can I have the verse?
In Deuteronomy, I think. I want to say it's 22. If any man takes a wife and goes into her, no. It's not 22. Hold on. Brother's wife. Mm, 25. Deuteronomy chapter 25 and verse 5. If two brothers are living together on the same property and one of them dies without a son, his widow may not be married to anyone from outside the family. Instead, her husband's brother should marry her and have intercourse with her to fulfill the duties of a brother-in-law. The first son she bears to him will be considered the son of the dead brother, so that his name will not be forgotten in Israel. But if the man refuses to marry his brother's widow, she must go to the town gate and say to the elders assembled there, my husband's brother refuses to preserve his brother's name in Israel. He refuses to fulfill the duties of a brother-in-law by marrying me. The elders of the town will then summon him and talk with him. If he still refuses and says, I don't want to marry her, the widow must walk over to him in the presence of the elders, pull his sandal from his foot, and spit in his face. Then she must declare, this is what happens to a man who refuses to provide his brother with children. Ever afterward in Israel, his family will be referred to as the family of the man whose sandal was pulled off.
Oh, wow. Wait, what are you reading from and what was the verse and chapter?
Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 5 through 10. I read it in the New Living Translation for the sake of my ability to read.
Okay, because mine says something completely different, but I'm in the New King James Version.
Okay, the New King James Version says, if brothers dwell together and one of them dies and has no son, the widow of the dead man shall not be married to a stranger outside the family. Her husband's brother shall go into her, take her as his wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. And it shall be that the firstborn son which she bears will succeed to the name of his dead brother, that his name may not be blotted out of Israel. But if the man does not want to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate to the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up a name to his brother in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of his city, shall call him and speak to him. But if he stands firm and says, I do not want to take her, then his brother's wife shall come to him in the presence of the elders, remove his sandal from his foot, spit in his face, and answer and say, so shall it be done to the man who will not build up his brother's house, and his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him who had his sandal removed. What was different from that to the NLT?
I don't know if it's maybe a different. You said Deuteronomy 5:5.
No, 25, verse 5 through 10.
Oh, 25. Okay, 1 second.
Shalom to the brother Malak Eliezer in the building. Praise the Lord. Shalom, brother.
Shalom, Officer Rab.
How you doing, King?
I'm doing well. I hope everyone is having a blessed day.
God, Lord willing, all praise to the Most High. You found it, Renisha?
Yeah, I'm reading it now. I thought you said 5.
Oh, yeah, no. I mess that up all the time. My brother Madazal be reading from me. I be saying one thing and supposed to be saying another, so that happens all the time.
That wasn't a custom.
You said what, brother Megan?
That was a law. That was an actual law. You had to do that.
Yes.
It wasn't just a custom.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting.
If I want to marry my brother's girl, you feel me? I mean, having somebody spit me in the face and hey, it is what it is. Whatever. I'm saying, if I ain't feeling you, like, come on. What sense is that? Like, I'm not gonna look at you as a wife.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna look at you as I look at or how I'm supposed to be looking at a wife.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be a comfortable relationship. I'm not gonna be happy. So it's like, I get spit in the face, whatever.
This guy.
I'll take that.
I would say that.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's why I said, I knew that they'd be shunned, but that's actually interesting to read. Thank you.
Of course.
I figured they'd be shunned, but spit in the face. I didn't know it said all that.
Yeah, no, it's a real disgraceful thing, believe it or not. I would definitely say this is more of a transactional thing in the sense of because the only purpose of it is to fulfill the brother's legacy. But still, nonetheless, this is definitely a place that we can go to identifying the fact that because if this man had a wife already, then he would forcibly have to take another one, so this is just a demonstration where there's particular instances where neither the man or the woman has even a say so. God literally basically takes over and says, no, you have to do this for your brother. Now you could be like Megan and say, I'm to hell with what God says. I'm not going to do what God says. I'm just going to get spit in the face and have a disgraceful name for the rest of my life. You could take that route. you know.
I say that because it doesn't really sound like a punishment. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really sound like a punishment that will come from God. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just how I look at it. It doesn't. It sounds like some neighborhood town shit.
Some neighborhood, hey, on sound like some Pyro neighborhood crib shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Lord have mercy.
They just pass by my house, like, so shouting out some names and shit. Like,
So like,
yeah, I'll be there.
Before we do continue, real quick, because I do have to hit the grocery store. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna end on the YouTube live. Listen, y'all, tap in with us on Clubhouse. All praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The link is pinned to the chat on YouTube. Hope to see you there by God's grace, mercy, and strength. All right, we're going to continue this conversation. Without any further ado, I must and I will say, Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Hit the like button, share the video. Until next time, shalom.
All praises to the Most High. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.